Last time on Square Roots, Delita reveals his plans, Zalbag becomes disillusioned with Dicecard, and Meliadul gets some daddy issues. Meanwhile, Argath sucks, because he's a vampire now. Let me tell you, this guy is a total Ventru, am I right? Oh, Vampire the Masquerade, I miss you so much.
And welcome to Square Roots, the classic RPG podcast. My name is Jim Banks. I'm joined by Matthew Van Zant.
Hello.
John Ultima Brandon.
$sign emoji. Johnny. Did you see his hat? Jim. Oh my god, he was wearing it again.
And Vanessa.
I'm Vanessa, and I don't understand that reference.
I wanted to say, what the hell? What the hell? Oh, that's so good. And this is a podcast where we play and talk about your favorite classic RPGs one chunker at a time. This week we finish Final Fantasy Tactics.
Woo, we did it. We finished it. It's the best game.
Yeah, this is a game we've been talking about for since the show started.
Mm-hmm.
When are we going to do Final Fantasy Tactics?
Everyone's been wondering. And we did it. And we beat it, all of us. All four of us.
It's true.
Yeah. It's a real four-hander ending.
I mean, Vanessa said she finished it like a month ago, and we haven't heard a word from her about it since, so.
I believe her. Vanessa wouldn't lie. Not to God.
You're right. She wouldn't lie to me.
Hey,
so,
you guys sitting on any hot gaming news this week?
Whew. Oh, I guess.
Boy.
Yeah, I got something.
Okay.
Did you hear that Ron Gilbert updated his blog finally and was like, well, I guess it's coming out. We made a third Monkey Island game. And everyone's
yeah.
But wasn't there 50 Monkey Island games in the interim? He's like, 3 Monkey Island games. I'm making the third.
That's fine.
Mm-hmm.
We're conditioned to it at this point.
Mm-hmm. It's
I don't care.
requel. It's as Jim told me. Jim or Matt told me. Whatever.
No, it was me that said that, but that's not entirely it because a requel, I think. Wait. I don't know.
It's a sequel to the second one, ignoring the later ones.
Yeah.
That he didn't work on. So are you all excited for a new Monkey Island?
Absolutely. I love Monkey Island. I'm selling these fine leather jackets.
Yes, you're going to be kissing Blarney Stones and dancing with the leprechauns at Monkey Island.
I'm gonna be buying me shamrocks from old Stan.
Mm-hmm.
Stano salesman. And
it's a tam o' shanter on a rope with a pulley.
Wow. All right. This bit, I think,
I don't understand these references.
How appropriate. You fight like a cow.
Jim, did you see he was wearing the hat again? Johnny, yes. What do you call that flap it has in the back?
Are you guys talking about my hat?
It's illegal for you to ask me that.
Guys, don't do it on the show. Come on.
Sorry.
All right.
Any other hot gaming news?
I feel like there was something, but now I'm having a tough time.
There's lots of Chrono Cross news.
Oh, yeah, that came out. Did that come out?
Chrono Cross came out.
Come out.
Mm-hmm. It feels like it came out with little fanfare. I just started seeing ads on Facebook. Exactly like that.
Mm-hmm.
Dang, who's playing the bugle?
But also, at the same time, PlayStation users have been reporting that their old purchases of Chrono Cross for like the PlayStation 1 or the Vita have expired when they try to re-download them.
Oh, no.
It's true.
That's crazy. I had not heard that. They can't do that.
They can do that.
Wait, sorry, say that again?
I know they can.
I wasn't listening.
So people who have purchased the old version of Chrono Cross on like the PlayStation 3 or the Vita, who have gone to download it, have been notified that their purchase expired on
What?
December 31st, 1969.
That doesn't seem right.
Well,
It doesn't seem right.
I mean, now they can purchase the remaster, so...
But
On a totally... Is it on the PlayStation system?
it's not going to be on the Vita, right? I mean, I guess.
It's on the PS4, but I bet you can get it on the PS5. Like, it's on PS4 and Xbox One, but I'm sure you can just get them in
I'm
the
sure
store,
you can,
right?
yeah.
So, and it's on Switch. I might get it. I mean, I'm probably not right this minute, but, like, I can see the ads are catching my attention, you know? Like, I would love to see that. It looks really nice, guys. Like,
Yeah,
it
it does. I kind of
they really did a lot to it.
On my console.
I wouldn't play it on the Switch again. Yeah, wouldn't want to play it on the Switch because that thing is getting old, you know? When's the Switch Pro coming out? When's the Super Switch coming out?
Got the Switch OLED now.
Ugh.
Trying to think of any other HGN. Can't think of anything.
The Halo show launched.
That's true. I'm watching it. I enjoy it. I think it's pretty fun. It's not, blowing me away, but it looks nice. It looks a little cheesy, but like, I don't know. What can you do? It's Halo.
Maybe it'll get better.
Looks like Halo. Hey, I'm on episode. I've watched all 3 episodes. I like it. I think Pablo Schreiber's a good actor, and he doesn't have a lot to do other than kind of stand there and look tough for the most part. But he's doing it. And they didn't make Cortana like a sexy hollow. She looks like the infinite Cortana, I think, which is nice. And it's cool seeing like warthogs driving around and stuff. Like, give me one of those.
I've only seen one frame from this show. It was the one that Matt sent to all of us, and it was a shot
Well, you
of
weren't
Master
asking.
Chief's bare butt.
Yeah, you were asking right as I was watching the scene,
a
so I did send it to you.
Stabbing.
There's a knife like
He's cutting
at the,
he's cutting
at the
like a
throat
thing
of
out
the
of
butt.
himself.
Oh.
Yeah, he's cutting a thing out of himself. You know, no spoilers. He's removing a chip.
Here's some hot gaming news. If you haven't picked up Cyberpunk 2077 for your PlayStation 4 or Xbox One, the current price is $5.
Wow. Neat.
$5 for last year's tentpole AAA release, Cyberpunk 2077.
$5.
You loved that game.
I did love that game.
Yeah, you played a lot of that game.
Yeah, Johnny.
And that's pre-patch. You did
Johnny
it pre-patch.
Silverhand is my
I know.
best friend.
Aw.
I
It
thought
was
about
not
trying it again
pre-patch.
post-patch.
I just don't. What's the point? Like, it didn't. Yes, we played it pre-patch.
Well,
Did we?
yeah, the
Yeah,
patch
it
that
was
came
pre-
out in February.
Oh,
We played
yeah,
it
but
pre-next gen launch patch.
Yeah.
It was
Right.
but it was post the patch that made it playable,
yes.
but
I
not
don't
the
think
most
so.
recent patch.
Well, it was post several patches. They
Yeah.
had been patching it for a while. I had it for a while. I bought it well before all of you did, just kind of out of curiosity. And I thought it ran fine on the fucking Xbox Series X. That's it for hot
I think
gaming
that's
news.
it. Yeah.
Yeah. We should probably talk about how we all leveled up so that we can talk about the end of this amazing game and its amazing end. Are you all
That's so
excited to talk about how amazing the end of this game was?
I'm always excited to talk about video games with you guys.
Aww.
Wow.
Like, even though I don't fully believe you, I'm still touched.
Yeah, it felt kind of disingenuous, right? Like, I'm always
Yeah.
excited to talk about.
Oh, you know, my favorite thing is
Oh,
talking
yeah. I
about
love
video
being here.
games with my stupid friends. Oh, God. Why is Manscaped making me do this?
Jim, since you are so angry about it, why don't you level up first?
I will. I went and saw a movie called Everything Everywhere All at Once. Just saw it last night. And I'm not going to not going to give an overview of the movie, but I did make a list of words that I feel like describe how I felt while I was watching it, and I would like to read those words to you guys.
All right, but I'm going to be
they-
watching you
it's a
very
mix of-
closely.
It's a mix of
Ejaculating.
words that describe my feelings and or how I felt about the movie.
I want to,
all right.
before you start, please do remember that I did say, if you spoil this movie for me, I am going to go to a parallel universe, find the Jim there, and give him a stern talking to.
You did say that. And I take that very seriously. Okay, here's my list of words.
Why do you need to go to a parallel universe to give him a stern talking to?
Because
and
I
not just
can't give a
this
stern
one?
talking
Because she's gonna kill me in this one, and
Right.
And I'm going to take your head, and I'm going to be like, this is what happens to Jim, so step out of line.
yeah. All right, here we go.
That was a fun Rick and Morty bit, Vanessa. Thanks for participating.
I would say that the movie is bonkers, exciting, hilarious, awesome, moving, sincere, genuinely original, unique, impressive, and inspirational.
I don't know, man. I saw the one, and I got to tell you, it looks a lot like that.
It's the
Like the
I don't
Jet
know.
Li movie?
I'm not gonna I'm not gonna describe the movie. You're not too far off, but it's the same concept but executed way
Does it
differently.
have Mark Burchard in it?
I wish, man. If there was a Mark Borchardt cameo, I would be so happy. Also, there is a John. Speaking of, I think you should leave. The actor whose name is Biff Whiff, who plays Detective Crashmore in season 2 of I Think You Should Leave, is a character in Everything Everywhere All at Once.
Oh, well.
Yeah. Biff Whiff having a
I wasn't
going to
go see it before, but now I'm thinking about it.
yeah. No, it's great. I took my daughter to it. We had a great time. Like I said, it's a long movie. It's like 2.5 hours long, but man, it's never boring, and it's really like wacky and hilarious and moving, and it just goes to places that you would not expect and like sticks the landing on all of it. It's awesome. Go see it. John, how did you level up?
I leveled up. I started watching, I think it was Daniel Coyle sent a link to a 5,000 hour long Dark
Saw
Souls.
that. I clicked it and I was like, yeah, I'm going to watch this. And then it's like 5 hours and 20 minutes. And I was like, no, I'm not.
Well, I put it on while I was finishing Final Fantasy Tic Tacs. And then I was like, okay, you know what? I've got some time today. I'm going to pause Elden Ring and I'll play some Dark Souls 1, because I always play up to the part where you kill that first boss, the Taurus demon, and then you get to the bridge and there's a dragon on it, and I get too psyched out and stop playing it there because it's like I don't want to deal with that dragon. So I played it again, and I got to like a couple more bonfires past that, and to the next real boss of the game, which is this butterfly, and she's really mean. She's a butterfly, and she's so mean. You wouldn't think a butterfly could be mean. This butterfly is really mean. She shoots magic at me, and I was like, what the fuck? She's great, but I'm stuck at that butterfly. So then I went back and played some more Elden Ring, and I got to Lord Radan. But before I got to Lord Radan, I met up with Blaidd at the party, like, you know, that night party before you go hang out with Lord Radan. And Blaidd was there, and Blaidd's like, we were supposed to meet before, and you like skipped on our hangout. And I was like, I went there. I went to the Mistwood well. I looked above ground and below ground. And you know that well, you didn't tell me where to meet you.
I don't think you're supposed to meet him there.
You are.
Are you talking about like? Oh, you're not talking. Are you talking about the Everjail quest?
No.
With Blaidd, or
no? After with Rania. If you tell Rania, you'll help you out. There's 3 quests you can do. One's with Blaidd, and you go. There's something to do in the Mistwood well, and so it turns out he was waiting for me past the second point of grace inside the well, like, you know, in that underground area.
Oh yes, I know what you're talking about.
And
yeah.
I'm like, that's like telling me to meet you at Taco Bell and then wait by the kitchen door, like. he ghosted me, and now he's telling me, he's gaslighting me that I was the one who didn't show up when he was waiting past the second point of grace. Are you kidding me? I will not accept this gaslighting. Blaidd, I am here at this party, but I'm not here with you, so I would prefer you not talk to me. Okay, you can help me out with Radon. Fine, come help fight Radon with me, but I'm going to be talking to Alexander because he's my special pot boy, and you're just a jerk gaslighting wolf. And then I got killed a bunch of times, and I was like, I think I need to take a little break from games for a bit. I think they're getting me too angry.
Getting you real stressed out.
Yeah, they're really stressing me out. I hate missing appointments in games and in real life. And he like brought it up so passive aggressively, and I was just like, no.
Like, excuse me?
Excuse me? And then I was watching Drunk History, and John Gabris was on there, and I was like, oh, John Gabris. Vanessa, how did you level up?
Oh, I started watching Severance as recommended by Jim, and I do like it. I have been watching a brand new British panel show called House of Games. Some of it, well, it's a trivia show. We'll start there. That you can play along with at home. So that's fun, right? Like, I'll be watching it, and I'm enjoying it, and I'm doing great, and the questions are pretty simple. The contestants are not what we would call Jeopardy champions. They're like, radio DJs and comics and whatnot. And so it's nice for a layperson because you feel like you can succeed with it until they're like, who was the third Lord of Shropshire who took the Dewberry of St. Elseph to Gladmansbill on the 8th bailiwick of Highbow? And, I just don't know. So, that's interesting to everyone. And also, that's it. You know what?
Sweet.
Screw you guys. I listened to your level ups.
I'm
You
listening to you
Level
chortle.
up. Don't screw
You're
up. Don't screw me.
fascinated.
I'm listening.
You're engaged. You're interesting. Me, I come to you with two choice
I was bored for Johnny's
pieces
too,
of activities. Yeah,
I
that's
feel
fair.
like, Vanessa, your delivery of the level up is what kind of took me out.
I would like to point out that at the beginning of your leveling up, I wanted to ask if you were drunk because you are talking like, I watched the show. Lots of pauses, lots of real slow words.
Are
I
you
watched
mansplaining Vanessa and correcting her on how women talk
No,
and deliver?
I'm pointing out that she's acting like she's drunk, but she has had a long week, so she's probably just tired.
Yeah.
Yes, I'm not drunk. I am overworked. And that's how I leveled up, and that's why I haven't done anything, and why I'm racking my brain to figure out what I did.
Overworked, undersexed, overprivileged, underappreciated, overstimulated, under the bus.
Oh, no. I think that the reason I have been watching this, I don't want to put an adjective to this show, but
Okay.
let's just say it's not a recommendation.
A show I refuse to describe. Vanessa Riley.
and that I'm
because-
emphatically not recommending.
I haven't had any time to play any games, and if I don't play some kind of game, like I get all twitchy and weird. It's bad. I'm a straight up gamer. So I gotta watch a trivia show and be like, I'm having fun now. This show is half an hour. They show me a picture of a person and a place, and I have to mash them up together to figure out that the answer is San Francisco's Golden Gate Bridge over troubled water. That's the kind of answers you can expect from that show.
I love it. I like that kind of splishy splash category that's combining.
It is. Yeah. It's all splishy splash. They have many different categories, but they do the splishy splash one every time. And they show you a picture, and they ask you a question, and you have to splishy splash them up.
It's like Work of Fart from the McElroy show there.
Yes, very much so. Except, as I said before, I know very little about many things. So, while I recognize the Hoover Dam, I did not recognize the picture of the pro tennis player they displayed with it. But I did make a very good guess with Hoover Dam Judi Dench. However, it was not a picture of Judi Dench. That's a great story about how I've spent my week.
What a great story, Vanessa. Thank you for sharing it with us.
Thank you, Johnny. I appreciate you appreciating me. This is my only social activity for the week.
Really?
Yep.
No way. You went to a museum or something last weekend. You went out. I remember.
That was last weekend. This is this week.
Well, it's Friday.
Well, so it is. Except not for the listener, because they could be listening on a Monday or a Tuesday or a Thursday or a Saturday or a Sunday. There's only one day of the week when you cannot listen to the show.
Well, I'm not going to level up with things I'm planning to do, though. Like, I'm not, be like, well, by the time they listen to it, I will have, because I don't know how it's going to be. Maybe it'll be terrible.
Well, also, the best laid plans,
I could have slept in. I like sleeping.
Could have slept in. I got the hurdle in one guess today. Okay, Matt, how did you level up?
You'd think that all this time I would have been sitting here thinking about it, but I wasn't. I was reading a Twitter thread.
I understand that you also watched Severance.
I've watched a couple episodes of Severance, and I enjoy it. It's interesting. I'm afraid that it's going to turn out to be The Good Place. Also, I've been watching Arrested Development, a show that people seem to love, but I've never really liked. But I thought I'd give it one more try. And you know what? Now I'm on the third season, and I like it a lot. So I guess it just took 10 tries. I played any games this week? Nope. Finished Final Fantasy Tactics. And that's it. That's all I got, folks. Ba-dum-bum.
Great
I
job.
liked how you jazzed it up. That's what I should have done. Can I try again?
No, I don't want to continue with this, so we got to move on to the show.
Okay.
Well, has Jim leveled up?
Everybody's leveled up. Jim started it.
Okay. Well,
Did I
then.
do anything this week? Just work. I got a flat tire.
You got a flat
exciting.
tire? That's
Aw,
Yeah,
terrible.
it's fine. No, it's all right. I was able to patch it up. It's fine. Paul came by and helped me blow it up. I didn't require him at all, but,
Well, it's good to have friends who'll come help you out. All right.
none of this is making it onto the show. Yeah, I'm just waiting.
Well,
Jim's
I'm
gone,
editing, so he's not.
Oh,
for me
yeah,
to
you are
say.
editing.
Maybe
Cut
it will.
everything that I said, please,
Maybe.
for the whole night.
Please
Maybe
cut
it
everything
will.
that I said as well.
No.
I leveled up by listening to the Taskmaster podcast.
Ooh.
Hey!
It's a true story. I'm so
I leveled up
desperate
by
for
listening
more
to the
Taskmaster
new-
content.
I leveled up by listening to the new Pup album. Have you guys heard of the band Pup? They're an awesome Canadian punk rock band, and they're all DIY punk and cool, and they put a new album out, and it's fucking great, and I cannot stop listening to it, and that's how I leveled up this week.
I listened to a song from that about
See, I did both.
a robot that talked about
That's from
writing a
Jim.
love song.
That's Jim's.
Oh.
I guess that is
That's
how
true.
we
That
all
Pup song
leveled up.
is mine too, I guess.
Let's talk
We all
about
did-
that.
Yeah. Let's
Do we
talk
have
about
to?
that. Yeah.
Well, do we want to promote that platform, though?
It's up to you.
Excellent point. Guess we can't. Oh, look, the Linda Lindas is on here. They're fun.
How about this? There is a particular platform where you can listen to music. They have a feature that lets you connect with your friends, and it makes a playlist based on your mutual tastes. I do not understand its algorithm because, according to it, the artist I like to listen to is Alanis Morissette and only Alanis Morissette.
Da, 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 da. And that Belgian choir of children singing that I don't even want to say what song they're singing a song that seems inappropriate for Belgian children to be singing about.
Okay, first of all,
Yeah,
it
they
is
should
not
be
a
singing about
children's
waffles.
choir.
Clearly.
This is a choir of women. It is Scala and Kalachny Brothers, my very favorite band, if you want to call it that. They're best known for their choir version of the song Creep that was featured in the trailer for The Social Network.
Oh. That could be fun. I could see a choir having fun doing that song, being like, "Are you a fool?" That's my Tom York impression.
I really appreciate that in both that and your Alanis version, you are being really careful that we don't get a DMCA. Like, really
Very as careful as you can.
atonal, lyricless impressions. That's a little bit close. I don't have a problem with Alanis Morissette. And of course, as a young teen girl, I listened to Jagged Little Pill over and over and over and over again.
I mean, as a young teen boy, I listened to Jagged Little Pill over
Wait,
and
that,
over
that,
and over
Vanessa,
and over again.
that song came out like 30 years ago. Well,
Johnny,
no.
you're allowed to listen to oldies.
27 years
Yeah.
ago. But still, yeah, you're right.
Like, it's not like it came out after I was born.
That's true. That's true.
So, yeah, I guess that is what I listen to that they think you would like.
Jim, somehow they turned this into a discussion about that playlist thing. I was trying to move us into the actual
Jim's
show.
playlist is pretty good. Jim, what was Jim and I? We had a song in common, right? Wasn't there a song in common?
You mentioned a Weaker Than song.
Yeah, that's
maybe?
it. Yeah, it was
Yeah.
A Plea from a Cat Named Virtute.
Oh, that's not the Weaker Thans.
Well, first of all, yes, it is.
Is it?
Yes.
And second of all,
Second of all, shut your face.
That's weird because the other Weaker Than song that I like sounds completely different.
Oh, but I like that
Now,
song.
Interesting.
this thing here says that our special playlist for all of us will update daily. So that means every day we get
A new Alanis
mix.
Morissette song
A
for
new
us.
Alanis Morissette song.
Maybe there'll be a cover next week.
Ooh.
It does have on here one of Johnny's songs, Coin Operated Boy by the Dresden Dolls, which, as everyone knows, goes, automaton, automaton, there's an automaton at the door.
Yes,
it
you're.
doesn't sound correct.
Well, that's Vanessa's DMCA friendly approximation of Coin Operated Boy. Okay, that's actually the song.
Well, I figure I better
Dum,
fucking
dum.
listen to it since she keeps referencing it.
It's a good song.
It's a great song.
All right, well, so that's how we leveled up. Let's talk about the Durai papers. You guys want to talk about the end of this game?
Remember when Matt was like, "Why would you call it that?" And then like the ending of the game's all about the Durai papers and what they meant, and then didn't somebody get burned at the stake because of it?
Yeah.
Oh
Yes.
boy. Yeah, that's it. It
This game's
turns
got
bad.
a dark ending.
It does.
I mean, this is this is based on the same material as Game of Thrones.
But then the main character, I don't remember the part at the end of Game of Thrones where the main characters who you thought died drive by on their chocobos waving.
Drive by their own funerals.
Yeah, drive by their own. Oh, look, it's Ned Stark.
Let's not get ahead of ourselves, boys.
I think it's okay
And
to spoil
listeners-
Game of Thrones, and that's how it ends. Ned Stark drives by his own
Listeners-
funeral on a chocobo.
Listeners, this week we'll end with a special segment, Matt and Johnny's Secret Characters Corner. That's right. Don't think that we're going to forget about Cloud and Beowulf and his dragon wife and the robot.
DMCA
and
approved
Balthier
robo.
from Final Fantasy 12 for some reason. And
Reese?
I don't know, maybe one other person.
Reese?
I mentioned dragon wife.
Okay. Dragon wife.
Dragon wife sounds like an anime from the 80s.
It's like one of those harem animes where he's got all these dragon wives and like he's got to choose one, but they're the one he really he doesn't actually want to be with any of them, and they're just making his life terrible.
There was this great, I think it was probably an OVA, but, for me, it was just like a tape that I rented at the video store that was called Dragon Half, that I remember really adoring. And I saw it somewhere recently and was like Prime or something, and was like, ooh, I'm afraid that won't hold up. I don't think 16-year-old Matthew's tastes were very good.
What were we talking about?
All
We were
right,
just
anyway.
starting off on the goddamn Dry Papers.
So the
Time for the
Dry
quest log.
Papers.
Dice-a-dog.
Oh my god, we haven't even started?
Remember last time, Dice Dark?
Yeah, this isn't too bad. 36 minutes is normal for us.
Yeah.
He poisoned that, or he killed that poison guy, and then Delita stabbed. That weird part where Delita stabbed Lord Garble. Lord Garg? You know who I'm talking about. He stabbed him and then made someone pretend to be Orlando and then stabbed that guy too. Delita just can't stop stabbing guys. He literally hired someone off the street to stab because he needed to stab more people. So who's Dice Dark, Matt?
Dice Dog is the eldest Beowulf, now the head of the household since the death of the father at the beginning of the game, which we now know Dice Darg is directly responsible for. Did we cover? Is that going to happen this episode, or was it last episode that Zalbag went and checks the grave? It's this episode.
That's
Okay.
this episode.
So, Dice Darg, who is now in charge of the Northern Sky, runs across a Templar named Lofrey, who kind of blames Dice Darg for the death of his father. He mentions that the Mossflower Mungus leaves mushrooms, Mossflower Mungus poison victims will have Mossflower mushrooms growing on their graves. And Lofrey leaves, but he gives Dice Darg the Capricorn Orosite for some reason, I guess from the church. Oh, he's a Templar, so he works for the church. And then we cut to Zalbag listening, eavesdropping on the conversation, and then we cut to Zalbag at the grave of his father, and he's got a manservant with him, leading him there.
It's just some guy, like a pharmacist he
It's
hired.
a chemist.
Yeah,
It's a chemist, which is really funny.
But I like
because
that
he shows the chemist the mushroom. He throws the chemist the mushroom.
Yeah.
And then the chemist catches it and looks at it and says, "This is mossflower."
And he's like,
fungus.
well, you know
I
what
don't
they
know.
say
It was
about
fucking hilarious.
You know what they say about mossflower? If on your grave a mossflower grows, your family will know not but woes, or something like that. And he's like, yeah, thanks. Here, this never happened, and then throws the guy a coin or a pouch or something. I love that detail, the fact that they put into the story. He hires a random chemist to go with him here, and then I don't know. There's just a level of storytelling and world building to that I really like. Normally it would be his second in command, a sniveling robot or something that'd be but it's not.
Yeah. They're well. I think probably not all of, but I think a lot of the main cast are very well realized characters, which is very cool. Like Ovelia and Delita's relationship is very well realized, and I think the end of the game really plays that out.
Yeah.
No, I think the end of the game really plays that up.
Yeah.
I mean, I think that Ovelia has been Delita's captive this entire game. Mm-hmm. You can't forget that. Like, she's not here willingly. Anyway,
then she gets Munchausen by proxy, Stockholm syndrome, all those other words.
Meliadul joins our party and informs us, or she had already joined our party, right?
Meliadul? Yeah, she joined as soon as
she informs us
Celia
in a scene that I don't really remember.
Threw her adopted father off a building.
Yeah. Now, at this point, you are supposed to head to Castle Egros, where the game started, to face off with Daisadarg. But I spent just a shitload of time grinding here.
I went around doing, like, rumors.
Yeah, I went and got all my rumors and my secret characters, this is a fun part of the game. I think there's a lot to do here. This is when it really opens up, and even though this game doesn't have an overworld like a traditional overworld, it does feel like finally you kind of have this freedom to go anywhere, and there's a shitload of stuff to do. There's actually a ton of content packed in here.
I think it would have been cool to let you kind of go from whatever point to whatever point without having to go through other points on the map.
Well,
Yeah,
I would, but that's how you get to the.
I assume
that's how they do random battles.
Well,
though,
it would be cool if it would just give you the option.
Yeah,
I mean, I guess you're right. There are a ton of quality of life improvements this game could use for.
Someone told me that you get
an
an airship in this game. I think it was maybe Vanessa making a joke. Because you do ride on an airship at one point in this game, but it's not what you think.
Well, Balthier I mentioned him earlier. He's in the game from Final Fantasy XII. He's a sky pirate. You
Without
do not
a sky.
see the ship.
Well, but there's a joke about
There's
that.
a sky, Johnny. There's not a ship.
No, he says, I'm a sky pirate without a sky.
Oh, all right. Anyway.
Yeah.
Well, but at this point, we rush to Egros and
rush in quotation marks.
we head to Egros eventually, and we find Zalbag and Dystarg like fighting or arguing, and Dystarg's all like I was doing what was right for the house, which is fucking insane. And who kills him? I don't remember. Does Zalbag kill Dystarg?
No. This is interesting. They start fighting, like, they're saying, hey, what are you doing? And then Dystarg's like, seize him. My brother's gone crazy. And then that's when you walk in and, like, to fight against Dystarg in human form and all his subordinates. But then.
That's right.
Once you
is he a vampire too?
Not yet. Not yet. Then.
No, not yet.
Then he decides, oh, hey, I'm going to crunch on this Auracite and get its power.
Yeah, of course.
And so he does that. And then I was like, what happened to Dystarg or Zalbag? And if you watch, Zalbag gets like teleported out of there. Like it uses.
Oh, I don't think so.
Well, no, it uses like I thought it was teleported out there, but I guess it's like killed by a beam of light. But it's sort of
it looks like to me. I mean, I guess it is similar to the teleportation thing.
Yeah,
but that is not how I viewed it. I thought he got fucking obliterated.
Yeah,
like, he gets disintegrated. It's dark.
Yep,
he gets destroyed. Yeah, so Zalbag dies, but you know what? He dies on our side, which is, I think, a sweet touch here.
Yeah,
Dystarg is the bad one. Zalbag has been going along with him the whole time because he thought that he was right, or he thought he thought that his brother was trying to do what was right, but he finally realized his brother is just trying to do what's best for him.
Yeah,
and
but that's not the last you see of Zalbag. We'll talk about that when that comes up.
Does he? Do he?
Yeah, he comes back.
That's a bummer.
Yeah.
It's
pretty
I don't
rough.
really think that's him. We can talk about it, but
it is him because he talks like he's.
It's like a facsimile.
No. We'll talk about it.
All right.
I promise, listeners, I won't forget.
He turns into Adramelech the Wroth.
Oh, like Hudson Roth.
Yeah.
It's a
Say
goat.
Hudson Roth.
Yeah, our listener.
Oh, it's got Vanessa, great job here. This has got like a link that's got like if you hover over it, it shows you his face.
Vanessa,
Hey.
did you do this yourself? That wasn't copied
Yeah,
from
she
a wiki,
did.
was it?
This is amazing. No, she would never do that. Yeah, he's a goat man. Anyway, we kill the goat man, and that's fucking it. We kill our whole family off. They're dead.
Well, he did
I
have
mean,
the
not us and Alma.
Capricorn stone, and that's why he's a goat man, right? Capricorn. And
Yeah,
goat.
that's what I said. He turns into Adromelchalik the Roth because he crunches on that Capricorn stone. Don't crunch on the stone.
Does this been the whole way the whole game? Every monster be Zodiac like?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Whoa.
Well, not the monsters in the not the monsters, but like
all the Lucavi have been.
all the Lucavi
What?
have crunched on a stone.
Yeah.
But what sign is a Oogie Boogie?
Oogie Boogie.
You're gonna have to do way better than
Yeah.
that. What's Oogie Boogie?
That's Clanlanth. You know, that Welsh word or Celtic word.
Oh, yeah.
You'd have to look that up and see what sign that relates to, but I'm sure it does relate to, because he had one of the juicy fruits, right?
Sure,
Yeah, he
but
had a juicy fruit.
I mean, Capricorn looks like a
Who's
goat,
Oogie Boogie?
and that makes sense.
It's Clanlanth.
That first the
Yeah,
first boss.
Calablam the Impure.
Or the first, like...
Real
the
boss
first,
of the game.
The first real boss of the game. The first Lucavi you fight.
But he didn't look like Two Fish, you know? He wasn't like, oh, I'm the Pisces monster, I'm Two Fish, or...
Right, yeah.
Kulain.
Yeah.
Kulain the Impure.
Maybe.
The one who's like a summon in Final Fantasy, whatever, 12.
Kuhulin, yes. He's Scorpio.
He didn't look like a scorpion to me.
Is Scorpio
should-
a scorpion?
Mm-hmm. I bet he was Virgo.
It says Scorpio. I'm looking it up.
Yeah, he's Scorpio. Don't ask me
More
how
like
that
him?
relates to... I mean, he had that mouth, but he didn't have a tail or anything. Not all of them are good, Vanessa. Not all of them are good.
I mean, scorpions do have mouths. I can't deny that.
They don't have tummy mouths, though.
Tummy mouths.
Yeah. Because remember that guy had like that big mouth? His tummy like splits
No,
open.
that wasn't his mouth, was it? I thought it was just like stitched together.
like
over his
a
tummy.
tongue comes out. That's how he attacks.
Oh, it does?
This says that Kahulun is a mythological hero from various lores.
That's
Ku
where the
is
name
the
comes
Irish
from,
word
right?
for hound, and it literally means hound of Kulin.
It's
But
like a
he
Welsh
does
name, right, or
have
something?
poison, which is
But
which
he
is
does not
kind
look
of
like a hound.
but he has which is kind of scorpion-y, right? Poisons. Right?
Well, okay, so is he the only Lucavi demon that doesn't correspond to, like,
Well,
automatically
yeah, like,
correspond
the
to, like...
ram one was Aries. The
Yeah. The, Weegroff?
was
Was he the ram man?
Yes.
Yeah.
So I don't know. We'd have to like go
I
back
can't
and
find
look.
any way. I looked through the wiki, but I cannot find any way that it really lines
Wiki,
up. To
wiki.
be honest with you.
It's been a long time. Should have left you without a dope beat to step to.
You my butterfly.
Every time someone says wiki, that always goes through my head.
I'm ready to move on.
Yeah, me
Okay.
too.
Vanessa
Please.
is ready to move on. So Vanessa, now that we do fight him, now that he's a big blobby monster, very surprising that a boss in this game starts out as a human you're fighting, then turns into some kind of monster.
Yeah, it's weird,
It's
right?
a shock.
Yeah. Yeah, he gets brought back, you destroy him, and then I guess at this point Rams is like, well, that's it for my house. We're all dead now. And you're like, wait, what about Zalvag? You didn't even go look for Zalvag, so I guess he was like melted into dust at that point. He was disintegrated.
Melted into dust.
Yeah, he was disintegrated. Cut to Mulan, which is like that ancient city, but the seat of the church's power. That's where the Templars are. And Full Marv is taking it over, and he's like, of course, we all remember the High Confessor Marcel Funabry, right?
Of course.
Well, yeah. How could you forget?
And he gives him, like, Funabry a little bit of a stab, like a light stab. And then he's like, hey, don't leave me like this. And he's like, oh, well, maybe we'll save you. Like, if you tell us where you can find, like, how to do this magic with these Orsite. And he's like, I don't know, but it should be in the Germanic scriptures. And then Fulmarva's like, ugh, that means I have to go find Ramza. This sucks. All right, stab him a little bit more, but we'll let him bleed to death, which is pretty rough.
It is. It's super rude.
Mm-hmm. So Marcel, the High Confessor, does say, oh, yeah, you can probably find some of the stuff you need to do this at the Necra Hall. But you need to find out where the Necra Hall is. You need to go to the secret catacombs under the Orban Monastery. That's where Alma and Titra were, like, nuns. That's where they went to school, anyways.
Yeah, I think it was
They're
more
cloistered.
of a student situation.
Mm-hmm.
Did Ophelia go there too?
Yeah, I think they all did.
Yeah, I feel like the whole game is sort of implying that they all know each other, but then they never spell it out.
No. She does. She says she learned it from a friend of hers back at the monastery.
Yeah, the grass blowing thing. So I
Yeah.
assume that was Titra
Mhm.
or Alma.
Yeah, it's one of
since
those two.
Delita learned it from Ramza's father, I guess?
Yeah.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
probably Alma.
They all went to school, and it turns out where they went to school is like the end of the game. Irony! I don't know if it's irony or not. That was my
That
best.
doesn't sound. Vanessa, you like Alanis Morissette. Does that sound ironic to you?
That was a Kevin McDonald irony. Was that close enough to Kevin McDonald's voice to get the ire of the DMCA or not?
It's like a boss fight at your elementary school.
And killing your brother when you thought he used to be cool. Can we do another line?
Nope.
Okay. So that they head out that way.
It's like Orside.
God damn it! I was trying to think of a good way to use that part of the song, and I couldn't think of a good lyric.
So they don't actually. They say that they're gonna save Marcel's life. They don't save it. They just leave him to bleed out. So then you head over to Malund yourself, and they're like, "You dummy! You absolute knob! You came here to exchange for Alma," and you're like, "Yeah, give me my sister." And they're like, "Well, give us all your Orsites and the Germani scriptures, and then we'll give you your sister." And he's like, "No, I'm not an idiot. I'll just give you the scriptures, and then you give me my sister, right?" And they're like, "Sure, buddy." And so he drops the book. They grab the book and like, "Oh, there's the ritual. It's super easy, actually. Just do like 3 turns and an Eye of Newt, and that's it." And so, yeah, everyone's like, "Okay, well, you can kill Ramza now. That's all we needed." And he's like, "But my sister." He's like, "You're so stupid. Ramza, you're the biggest idiot I've ever met."
He kind of is, though, because he has the Orosite on him. So
Well, he's not going to crunch it.
Well, I know, but like you're supposed to hide it and be like, "You can't kill me. You'll never find where I've hidden the Orosite."
Ooh, that is
It's
good.
in,
Yeah.
Like it's in too good of a chimney.
Yes.
I know it was in a chimney before, so that's probably where you're gonna look. But this chimney,
The last
it's
time
such
it was
an
a fake,
obscure
so they
chimney.
wouldn't think that it would be real this time.
Yeah,
I gave it to one
oh.
of my lower level characters, and then I had him hide it, and then I killed him, so you'll never find it. Wait,
That sounds like
Does that
something
mean
Delita
you
would
don't
do.
know where it is.
Yeah, yeah. Why didn't you just hide it yourself? Why'd you have to kill that guy?
Yeah, they don't. So they don't give him Alma, and then they do attack him, but attacking Ramza just seems to be a bad idea because he always wins. Because he can do.
Well, yeah. I mean,
because he has time. I guess time powers.
If you didn't win, you would maybe that would kind of be the end of the story, you know?
Yeah.
Or the end of the game, because it's a game.
Well, it's sort of like how in Fist of the North Star, everyone's like, "Oh, there's that guy. He's obviously such a wimp," even though he did explode every single other person with one punch. I'm sure he won't explode me with one punch.
Yeah. It is a bit like that when you're at a certain level and you're just kind of swatting these guys around. Actually.
So, did Fist of the North Star guy just over-level himself before he started his adventure?
I mean, presumably.
Yeah, that makes sense.
What is Fist of the North Star again?
He stayed in the level 1 area farming frogs and rats until...
It's anime Mad Max, where in a post-nuclear wasteland, his girlfriend got kidnapped by the other, anime Mad Max guy, and he's
by the anime Mad Max gang.
Yeah, well, it's like his big blonde friend stole him.
Oh, so it's an anime, it's not a game.
Well, it's a manga.
Well,
yeah.
there's several
But there's
games.
lots
It's
of
a
games.
long-running... It is a manga from, the fucking 70s.
I would like
that
to
has
play...
been reinterpreted
whenever
1,000
I hear
times.
Fist of the North Star, the first thing that comes to my brain is God Hand.
Yeah, it's a lot like that.
Yeah. But that's what it is. It's every fucking fifth. It's like Dragon Ball Z, except for when it gets to the end, it's always the same thing, and it's the guy doing one move and the other person fucking exploding.
Yeah, well,
but it's not
have
a fun
5
satire
seconds.
like One Punch Man, who does it way better.
One Punch Man is really good.
But there's
It is, because it's such a satire.
Yeah.
The Yakuza people made a Fist of the North Star game in 2017 that is just
Maybe that's where I heard of it.
It's a Yakuza game, but with Fist of the North Star instead of Yakuza, but it plays just like Yakuza, and it's amazing.
That sounds great, actually.
And he does hit so many beefy boys. That game is just full of beefy boys in leather.
Oh,
it is.
Beef Town.
I just have to fan myself when I play that game.
I played a GameCube or an N60. No, it couldn't have been N64. I don't know what it was. I played a Fist of the North Star game that was honestly pretty fucking boring. Oh wait, no, you know what? That may have been a Berserk game.
Ooh. I've heard Berserk is a great manga that I have to read if I like Dark Souls.
It's pretty
a
boring.
lot of Dark Souls stuff is apparently.
It does seem very
inspired by
soulsy. They did put a
It's not.
they did put a gut sword in Elden Ring.
It's one of those things that's culture. It's beloved, but if you go to, well, at least in my experience, when I tried to actually read it, I was like, oh, this is just nonsense.
It seems kind of edgelordy to me.
Yeah, it is.
What I've read of it seems a little teetering on the verge of being kind of edgelordy.
Okay.
But
It is.
not
It's
to disparage people that like it, but yeah,
that's the point,
It's very extreme. It seems very juvenile, kind of. Not to sound like a
that's
dick.
exactly what it is.
But-
It's very extreme violence and
It's like what
giant-breasted women, juvenile
yeah, it's what
fantasy.
somebody listening to Marilyn Manson in 2002 in middle school would have drawn in their Trapper Keeper.
Yeah. Yep.
Johnny, did you draw this in your Trapper Keeper?
I was in college in 2002.
2002 is a weird time.
I guess 97 would probably be better.
Yeah.
Yes.
I was also in college in 97, though. I was in college for a long time. I wasn't very good at it. I never got a bachelor's. Anyway.
I was fucking dead in high school.
John
in
in college, pre and post 9/11. Wow.
Yep. Yep. I was so close to get. Anyway, I wish I got my bachelor's, but it's fine. I'm doing fine. You know what? You don't need a bachelor's.
You're doing great.
Yeah.
Ready.
If you don't want a bachelor's and you're not good at going to school, don't worry about it, buddy.
All right, I gotta move on to this.
So he's he follows Fulmarv downstairs, and Fulmarv's like, here we are in this crypt. Ironic, because it'll be your crypt, because we're locking you in here with the zombie of your brother. Bye, and then he teleports away.
Great.
And Zalvag's like, why is it so dark? I can't see anything. And he's like, brother? is that you, Ramza? And Ramza's like, hey, brother, I can save you. He's like, no, I don't think you can, friend. I'm like a zombie now, and I can't see anything, and I'm being compelled to attack you. So you have to, my least favorite thing in video games, you have to kill me.
It's like the scene in Blaidd where they throw the lady in the pit, and it's like her ex-boyfriend, but he's like a vampire zombie now.
Just like that.
I like this. I like this. I like that Zalbag got redeemed. I think we did see Zalbag get disintegrated. So this is like a summoned version of him. So whatever he is, it's not really him.
But it's got his his spirits in there, trapped in there. It sounds like hell.
I mean, prove that. I mean, I don't know that he does.
In the text of the game, he says he's trapped in
I don't know that he does. He might just be fucking. It might just be a fucking projection. You know.
I'm only going by what the game tells me, and that
Zalbag
says
doesn't have a soul. Prove me wrong.
You know what? That's a good point. But like, whatever it is, like, I didn't feel like guilty, like giving this thing the stabby, and I thought it was a good scene.
Yep, me too. So you explode your brother.
Yep.
And then in these fights, so basically every fight until the end of the game now is kill this one guy, and you can kill everyone else, but why would you? Because you're just at the end of the game, so you might as well just like
what if you just send Orlando at him and have him hit him twice and he ends the fucking fight? Also, he's got auto haste, and he generally has like +3 speed by the time anybody else gets a turn, so he's fast. That guy was like my fucking bullet in this game, and like Ramza could do more damage. Ramza could do like 1,000 damage if I beefed him up a little bit first, but Orlando did enough that he just wrecked everybody in 2 hits.
With Ramza, I gave him the bracer, which gives him +3 attack, and I made him 2-hand a lance as a dragoon, and he was doing 999 damage. That's great.
Awesome. That's cool. I ended up with Samurai Ramza, so I was double-handing a katana, which is super fun. And then I always have to have metal as my backup. So Ramza can hang back and do metal a couple of times and get Bard Song +1 a couple of times and walk in and do 1,000 damage. But he can only do like 500
So before you leave the Milan,
450.
You do walk past the High Confessor, and he's like, help me, and you're like, well, I mean, all your organs are on the floor, but
and also fuck you.
Yeah. And so he does say, hey, they all went to Orban Monastery in the basement of the Alamo. That's how you get
that's where you said we were.
No, we're in Milan. We're not in Orban.
Oh, you said we were at Orban Monastery, and you guys talked about how it was the school that they all went to.
Well, we were they were there, but not Ramza. That's where there was a cut to, well, not even cut to. They said they're going there.
Yeah, they went to Orban Monastery.
So when you
jump in the truck with Large Marge,
yeah, and then her face scared me so much as a kid. That was the single scariest thing I'd ever seen. And now watching it, it's so cute.
It is. It's really funny.
So you do go over there, and you get to the basement of these catacombs, and it's like an archive with books, but the books are like the size of, I don't know, a large couch. I don't understand how anyone could like pick up and read these books. Like, you're walking on top of these, like, I'd say they're 10 foot by 5 foot books or so, or 10 foot by 6 foot.
I don't know. It sounds like they're really easy to read. I mean, well, depending on how big the font is, I guess.
Yeah, but wouldn't they be like 500 pounds? Like, trying to lift and just maneuver these. Like, how are you going to read these on the toilet? Like, maybe there's toilets there? I guess it's like the Middle Ages, so everywhere is a toilet.
Do you think the toilets have to be giant too to read giant books on?
Ooh, that's true. But then you'd be like standing in the bowl, and no one wants that. And how do you get out? You'd be trapped like when you see an ant trapped in your bathtub, and you're like, how'd you get in there, little buddy? Has that ever happened to you? That you had ants in your bathtub?
I don't think so. Not recently, anyway.
When I lived in California, we had an ant problem, and the bathtub would get full of ants.
Ooh, when I lived in Kansas, there was a lot of ants too.
And it was like I'd turn on the shower and be like, "It's carnival!" Like in Logan's
no.
Run.
Honestly, I don't like bugs. That would irk me, especially if I was like naked and vulnerable and there's a bug around. No, thank you.
And there'd be like dozens of them in the bathtub too.
Oh my gosh.
What do you think it's going to do to you if you're naked that it wouldn't do to you?
I feel exposed and defenseless, and like when I see a bug, because like in my mind all bugs are threatening and they want to hurt me in some way. It makes me feel very vulnerable.
We'll talk about that next week, but you don't want ants in your pubes.
That's true.
Do you think that's an angle that Manscaped will be okay with us using? That, like, ones if you get bugs in there?
Do you have, or are you worried about having bugs?
All right. That'll be one of our ads for sure. What if you get bugs in there?
One of the benefits to being Manscaped is, you can see the bugs.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, no. Thank you.
Nope. Vanessa has realized a real world application of that. So we go. So Vanessa, what's your explanation for the giant books in the basement of the Orban?
Oh, well, this is pretty easy, Johnny. These are decorative.
Oh.
Like you have in your house, you have a coffee table, and you get like that giant Rihanna book or something, and you plunk it on there, and you're like, ooh, I own the like $800 Rihanna book. Nobody actually reads it. It's just decorative. Continue, Matt.
Mm-hmm. I have a book like that I bought for myself, which is a Spider-Man book. It's like Art of Spider-Man.
But that's an art book.
I have not read it. I also have those giant Game of Thrones and Wheel
coffee
of Time
table
books.
We call those coffee table books.
Was that not what you were talking about? Sorry, I was just trying to contribute.
What we were talking about.
John, cut me out of this episode.
Yeah.
Entirely? Just delete your track?
I had to put Connor to bed.
Oh, no. I'm not cutting you out.
I am very interested in Jim's idea of a text or a font that is too large for the human eye to read.
Ooh.
But from what distance?
Yeah.
Like if you don't qualify that.
Well, at a certain point, as you get further away from an object, you get distortion just because of air, I guess. I
feel like Jim's
hazy.
coming at this from like a cosmic perspective, where it's like our mind just goes insane trying to perceive these letters that are too
for
big.
all we know, we're just we're like an atom on the ink of a in a book in
I can't
in the
use
library of a being that's too large for us to comprehend.
What was that old there's a short story called
There's a million of them.
The Library of Babel, and it's these people get lost in this library that's got basically every iteration of every word in every language, but most of it's unreadable because it's just gibberish. But there's this giant infinite library. It's kind of like that.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So you fight on those.
No, we're probably an atom in the ink of a kid's textbook that incorrectly teaches them about their own history, because that shit.
We're the ink on the paper on the inside of a notebook in a middle school kid's trapper keeper drawing guts.
But it's their alien version of guts.
Yeah. But the textbook that the kid is doodling
we can't
in
comprehend this.
Is like
big. We're part of hentai.
It's cosmically revisionist history, which doesn't talk about like all the bad stuff the elder gods have done before and sort of whitewashing over that part of history.
Like the Germanic scriptures or whatever.
Exactly.
No, that's the opposite of what the Germanic scriptures do. They reveal the true history.
No, the Durai papers do, right?
No, but the Durai papers. Actually, it's an interesting parallel, because the Germanic papers do the same thing that the Durai papers do, but they do it for Saint Ajora, and this does it for us. Though, admittedly, one would be like the true story of Jesus, and one would be like the true story of Napoleon.
As in, have you played Xenogears, Jim?
Xenogears?
I've never
Is that
played
starring
it,
Gino
but I
from Super
know,
Mario
but I know
RPG?
all about the plot. I've read a lot
I
of.
can't
stuff
Isn't it
about
like
the
to
plot.
finger
doesn't it
blast
have
all
like
of our enemies.
weird cosmic horror?
Come on, guys.
Isn't that like
It's not.
kind of
It's more religious in tone than it is cosmic horror in tone.
Oh, okay. I know
Why
that
did you
it's-
bring up Xenogears?
we'll talk about
Oh,
that.
good question. Yeah.
Don't
We should
do it in the
well,
middle
I'm
of the
surprised we
thing.
haven't revealed it yet. We should just do it now.
Yeah.
No, we should do it at the end of the episode.
Okay.
This is
Well,
a great
hold
chance
on.
to tease what it could be.
It might
We should have
be
done that
Lunar.
way up front.
Who knows what the winner is? I guess we'll have to find out. Either way, we're getting
Yeah.
a weird anime intro that doesn't have a whole lot to do with the rest of the game.
I mean, it does.
Shut up.
Anyway, we're at the end of this fucking
So-
game.
each of these
We
fights
head
has
into the Necro Hall.
each of these fights has a different guy you fight that has a name, and there's like, oh, it's me, Balthazar Kwambadari, and you're like, oh, I met you that one time, and now I kill you, and he's like, oh, but now it's me, Climb a Hall, Friend Attack, and
Well, it's the Templars. It's the guys that have been fucking with us this whole time from the shadows, and now they're
but you
all
fight
here.
like
and
8 different
we
ones
kill
in a
them.
row, and
It's not 8. It's like 3.
I have no idea who these guys are, but yeah, so you get through this one guy, and you do get teleported. Well, he like,
Fulmarv's been around. He's the one that recruited the guy whose sister we killed. That
but
was
it's
mad
not
at
Ful.
us.
Is it Fulmarv that traps you in that glyph? No, Fulmarv's at the end, right? He's the one
I don't
standing
know.
next
Let's
to
just read
Alma.
this.
So, you kill this dude, you get through a million dudes. This guy traps you in a room and then makes you like walk on top of a glyph. The glyph teleports you to the Necro Hall out of time, I guess.
Yeah. We're definitely outside of space and time now. We're
Yeah.
in a weird dimension called the Necro Hall, which is
Yeah.
fun.
Necro
And
Hall,
it's like-
not a drink.
They're just how would you describe them? The levels.
Little floating bits of levels and stuff that are like kind of floating in the middle of space, a void.
Yeah.
It's like, remember at the beginning of Bayonetta where she's jumping off little bits of churches? It's like that in outer space. Do you remember that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I've never played that game.
It's pretty good. It's really silly. And like references all the old Sega arcade games. Like she has attacks that like turn into Space Harrier and Afterburner and stuff. It's very cool.
Yeah. We're in the airship graveyard, I think.
Oh. Well, that's why there's a broken down, melty, rotting airship. Because I hadn't seen an airship in this game, but I did get Sid onto an airship in the end. He was there and he was fighting on an airship. And so you finally get to Fulmarv and he's like, Ramsa, it's you again. And now we'll have to fight 1-on-1. And he's like, now get inside Alma. Here's Alma. I'm ready for you. Just go in there. Just go inside. Go in Alma. But the master does not. So he turns into a kitty cat man.
He turns into a big old beefy lion man.
Yeah, he is. He's a real
Yeah.
Kamari. Hey, buddy.
He's a big old. He's bigger than Kamari. He's
Yeah,
fucking
it's true.
beef.
He is
dude is
full of
large.
beef.
And he's got that full lion mane going on, so he's kind of bearded, you know.
He's definitely the first real boss fight. No, he's the hardest boss fight of this chunker. He's not the V-Graph is still the hardest boss fight, but he's like the second hardest. He's pretty tricky.
I mean, Belias. Belias is the one that always fucks me.
Yeah, Belias, yeah. But because he's got like all these area of effect spells, and if you haven't like prepared and make
Dude,
sure you have over
yeah.
200 and something hit points, he can kill you in one hit. And
I gotta be honest with you, I wrecked this guy, so I did not see his full capabilities. I fucking slapped him down. It was great. Everybody wanted to go after my Arithmancer Bard really badly, which was weird because he had Dragonheart on him, which gave him re-raise. So I was like, good. And then the rest of my party would just walk over and beat the shit out of these bosses. This was quick for me. But I was in the 60s, you know? with my-
okay, yeah, I was in the mid 50s. It was a trickier fight. It took me a couple of tries. I just had to make sure that my Vanessa, my mathematician healer, was had over 300 hit points so she could survive the quake. attack that he does. And once that happened, then it was just a matter of attrition because
Wow, I never even saw the thing. That's a bummer. I'm sure I have. I've played this game several times. I've said it many times, but this time around kind of blasted through some of this stuff. Vanessa, you were saying.
You can also survive a quake attack by equipping float or floaty boots on your characters.
I didn't think about
casting float.
I took
with
those
your Panther.
floaty boots off of Vanessa. That's my fault. She did have
Once
them for a while.
once they started selling Hermes boots, I never went back. That +1 speed is easily the most helpful thing in the game.
I like the
whole
bracers
team
that
goes
give
first.
you +3 attack. Those are pretty great.
That's great too. But going first became very important for me. I got weird with the strategy in this one, I guess.
So I did. Then you defeat the kitty cat man, and he's like, "Well, I need blood to get my master, but my master's not coming, so I guess I'll just claw myself." And he rips himself open in some more gory sprite blood, and this does summon Hashmal, the kitty cat man is Hashmal.
Yeah. And he summons Saint Ajora back to life.
Who does sort of like, it's weird. Saint Ajora does take over Alma's body, and then Rams is like, "No, Alma, no!" And then Alma's like, "You know what? I don't like this. This sucks."
Yeah,
so she like splits off.
Alma manages to break free, and then Saint Ajora is just kind of left standing there as like an old woman. Now I was a little confused here because
Not old,
I
pretty.
thought. No. There's 3 forms here. She's like an old lady. I sent the pics.
You're right. Yeah, you're right.
Ajora's not a lady, is she?
Well,
see, now I throughout the game thought that Saint Ajora was a woman, but John says that Saint Ajora is a man.
yes. If you read
Ajora's
the
a man.
Germanic scriptures, it does say it's dude. But he first is a lady because he's like in the form of Alma, even after Alma splits off.
Yeah.
Yes.
And then turns into like a bird lady after being an
he
old
turns
lady.
into Devil Woman.
Mm-hmm.
I guess he turns into like super
Doesn't he turn into like regular Jorah for a second?
He turns into like stretchy skeleton Ajora at the end, who looks like Hammurabi.
There's 3
sort of.
forms. There's a one that looks like Alma, but with like white hair.
Yeah,
and
then
there's
she turns into Bird Lady.
She turns into the Bird Lady, who really is like a blonde woman. Could be like another Alma, I think, but like a Super Sentai.
And Vanessa was
Did I say that
like,
right?
this game was being
Because
so
I
good.
think hentai. Did
with
I say it right? Somebody tell me.
This
Super
game is
hentai?
being
Is it Super Sentai?
yes, super hentai.
Don't say what I said. I'll say what I said.
Okay, I was trying to get you to prompt you to say what you said.
Here's
Prompter.
what I said.
Prompter.
I said, this game, throughout its whole thing, has been these cutesy little sprites, sort of like genderless-looking characters that just have different hair and outfits. And then we get to this final boss, and she is a big old jiggly boob lady.
I mean, she looks like a summon like the other summons. Like she's a sprite like the other summons. Like a high detailed sprite.
Yeah, I guess. But, I mean, she's wearing a bodysuit, so her legs are exposed.
It
And
is
she
highly
has
sexualized. No
knee-high
arguing it.
boots and very prominent breasts, and she is highly sexualized.
Yeah, it looks like a highly sexualized version of Alma.
Yeah, those aren't
Your
Even though
breasts.
Saint
Th-
Ajora-
those aren't breasts.
Even though
Those
Saint
are
Ajora
jugs.
is a man.
They're jugs.
Jim.
You can't
Cut what
say
I said.
Don't say boobs or
Jim.
breasts. Say jugs or
Yes.
or tits.
Yes.
And yeah,
the-
it is Ramses' sister. But I mean, I'm not Ramses, so.
Ramsey call him whatever he wants on this podcast. We're gonna call
Vanessa,
him-
oh my God, did you just see Jim got in trouble for wearing his hat at a meeting?
I don't understand what you're doing.
They think I think you should leave, Jim.
Of course it is.
I think I saw two dice in his pocket.
But he was too scared to bring them out and show them to people.
Don't worry, Vanessa. One day the 4 of us will all actually meet in person, and we will make you watch the entire.
She has watched them.
Can't make me do anything.
So Vanessa,
Yeah.
you attack Bird Ajora.
Bird Alma.
And then Bird Ajora does turn into Long Hammurabi Dude Ajora, which I think is...
Bird Ajora isn't even the final form.
The final form.
No. Skellington Ajora is. And
Skellington.
Skellington is also long and tall, but more a man.
Mm-hmm.
John says he has a beard. I don't see it, but he does have a big dangling tentacle hanging between his legs all the way to his feet, and I don't know how you're supposed to interpret that as
think
other
it's a
than
dick.
a big old penis.
It looks like they could have rendered it to look like a tail, but it looks like a dick.
I sent a good high quality version of the Ultima, the High
you're
Seraph.
not putting it in the notes. Why am I don't look at chat, Matthew.
Well, I don't know how to do it to the chat. I'm on trying to do it from my phone, and my phone's dying. But sure, I'll figure this out. So you don't have to open
I'll
chat.
put it right here. Boop. Vanessa, what do you think of this final boss? I put
Whose
it
name
in the
is
notes.
Ultima the High Seraph.
Okay, that's not a tail though,
And
because
this
it attaches
says-
in the front.
What we say is what this says is the previous human host of this Ultima the High Seraph was Saint Ajora. So we already knew from the Germanique papers that what we thought we knew about Saint Ajora was wrong, but basically the ending here is that their Jesus character is the devil, which is pretty fucking wild. And I really like it. That's a great twist. Jesus was the devil all along. And he has a giant purple penis.
Okay, but let's talk about this thing. Because if you look at this
I don't see a beard.
large image, the purple starts like at his neck. So he has like a purple sort of torso area that then carries down as if it were his spine, perhaps? Because you can see
Way
his
too long to
ribs
be.
and things.
Yeah, yes, as if it were his spine if he had a tail, right? Like a cat.
Yes.
Except for it comes out of the front and not the back, which is really
doesn't.
strange.
It
I mean,
kind
yes.
of does.
I think it does.
Yeah,
It
but then
definitely is coming out
but
of the
then
front.
it curves backwards, which should not happen unless you're doing reverse cowboy.
Again,
You guys-
the more you bring up reverse cowboy, the more I think you don't know what it is.
Just put him in a union suit. The purple tail comes out
I mean,
the back.
the other day that you suggested that I could perform a reverse cowboy by having a man sit on me, which is not my understanding of how anything works.
There's another name for that position.
I don't think there is.
I think there is.
Johnny, where's the beard on this High Seraph?
It
You
was
say
in-
there's a beard.
It was in his character portrait. Let me find it. Let me see.
All right, well, make sure you post it into the notes.
I will. Don't worry.
If you put it in chat, you're canceled.
And
bro.
while he's doing that, I'll just go ahead and tell you that, surprise, we kill this thing. But when we kill it, a giant explosion happens. By the way, we said this was the airship graveyard. This final boss fight does happen on a ship, which is pretty weird. Just a ship's floating in space. Anyway, we kill this thing. It explodes. And that's it. The end.
It does.
Yep.
Well, that's not the end.
It's pretty much the end.
Nothing
it's like-
else is like interesting happens.
Yeah,
after.
it's like, and that was the end of Ramza and
All right,
Alma
here he comes.
and all the friends.
I still don't see a beard.
I thought the dark area was a beard, but I guess I don't know. It could just be shading.
It's more like a skull face.
yeah. I interpret. You know what?
It's fine.
It was sprite art. I misinterpreted it.
Listen,
That's all.
in this game, I have thought that half of the characters looked like dogs. That's not a joke. And I still, when I look at that sheep monster, I actually still see, like an optical illusion, the big white fluff of its like fleece as like a Mr. like a, what is it? McGruff, the crime dog mouth.
like a
Like
hound
he's gonna
mouth?
take, like
Speaking of
he's gonna
Hammurabi.
take a bite at a crowd. Like he's gonna take a bite at a crime. It's a dog, and so is Gafgarian from the beginning of the game. They're a dog man in this game. It's weird
You know
that
the-
Balthier showed up in this, and there were no references to any of the other species that apparently exist in this world.
Mm-hmm. Balthier.
Yeah.
So
Now here I
this-
will tell you what happens.
Okay.
Everything blows up. This junky old airship you were on blows up. Ramza blows up. Alma blows up. All of their little friends that you've spent all this time leveling up blows up. Everyone's blown up. Cut to Oron Durai himself. That's right, the author of the Durai Papers.
The son of Sidophilus Orlandu.
Correct. He is and Sidophilus, I guess, blew up as well.
Yeah, he was with me.
Yeah,
I mean,
he's in your party. He's also blown up. So
presumably everybody in your army is around.
yeah, even if they're not in your party, they're like standing by. So this guy goes to the Beowulf house funeral since the whole house has died. Ramza's a heretic still. He was not exonerated, and his body wasn't found, so he wasn't given a proper burial. And Oron's kind of like standing by the graves, being like, "Oh, Ramza, Alma, are you really dead? What actually happened?" And then you hear the clip-clop of Chocobo feet. Click-clop, click-clop, click-clop.
Yes, just like giant chicken feet, the sound that giant chicken feet make. Clip clop, clip clop, clip clop.
Clip-clop. And coming over the horizon, riding two chocobos are Ramza and Alma. And they just ride past this guy. They're just like, "What's up?" And he's like, "Oh, what?" Like he does a double take. He's like, "Ramza? Alma? Is it you?" And they keep on riding into the distance. So this guy is so moved by what he has seen. He's like, "You know what? I'm going to write a history of exactly what happened and the truth. All
How
about
does he know
Ramza."
what happened, though? He wasn't there for most of it.
He's like
wasn't there for most of
assembling.
it.
He's assembling like bits and bobs from people that he's interviewing. He's doing
and
like
bobs
real
and hints and
historian
clues.
work.
Bits and bobs and hints and things. And the church catches wind of this and is like, "Oh, you're right about that heretic? Guess what? You're a heretic, and we're going to burn you at the stake."
Yup.
And they do.
Now, most of this is told up until the part where Ramza and Alma come by on their chocobos. It's cutscene, and now everything else after this has been text blurbs at the end of the game.
Which
There is a
means that
long
Matthew was
end
doing
game
his,
text blurb.
Matthew had a lot of time to do his
Oh,
special
no.
text
Yes.
on screen
Yes.
activity.
Oh no.
Yes, I did. Many times. More than once. It was a new record.
And we learned that years later,
What do you think's going to happen with Xenogears? Hey!
Orin's descendant Arazlam,
Azalam.
uncovers these papers
So,
and
hang on.
publishes them.
I want to point out that we thought throughout this game that the papers we were reading were Orin's recollections, but it's not. It's Arazlam.
Well, he found
it's Orin's.
Yeah, he found them.
He's like reading his ancestor's diary. And he's like, "Oh, what
But
does it
he's the
mean?"
one. It's Arazlam who's like the few times it's happened, who's been like the narrator of the game,
Yes,
not Orin. We thought it was Orin,
but it's not.
but it's not. It's Arazlam.
Yep. He's like, "Oh, what's it mean to be a hero? What does it mean to do the right thing? Blah, blah, blah." The end. Very moving. Very powerful. Roll credits.
Roll
Nothing
credits.
more to see here.
Nothing more to see here.
It's all
The end.
good. The end.
I should note, because there's a little scene, a bonus scene you can get if you like go by Zeltenia Castle with, and you make sure that you still have what's the name of the lady knight, the one who like is pretty good, Agrias. Make sure she's in your party.
Agrias.
Or not in your party, but, still alive. Then you get a cut scene of Agrias running into Ovelia and Delita. And Agrias is like, okay, we're like truce, right? We're not going to fight. I just had to see you before we do this like final dangerous thing. And Ovelia is like, oh, it's so great to see you. It's been so long. And she's like, yes, I wish you could come with me. And she's like, no, but I'm going to marry Delita and be a queen. And she's like, wow, that's amazing. But, just FYI, I'm going to give you this knife just in case anything bad happens. I want you to defend yourself. And she's like, okay, I'll take this knife. I'm sure this will be nothing in the future will have to do with what happens with this knife.
I've never seen this.
They all nodded. And
that's interesting.
Yeah, it's like a little bonus scene you can get before
That's cool.
the end of the game.
Yeah, that's cool. So
And then
roll
the
credits.
credits end.
Johnny, this was your first time finishing this game, correct?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
I think maybe you should tell us about the post-credit scene and how it made you feel.
Excellent idea.
There was long credits with lots of cool character art, and I was like, oh, this is nice. I was watching all the credits, and then it's like cut to, and it cuts back to like those ruins outside of Zeltinia Castle, the one where Ovelia and Delita always hang out. And she's there. He's in his like king garb, and she's still dressed like Ovelia, and then she turns to Delita and rushes at him. Okay, and this is what these notes say. I didn't get this from the notes, but this is why it relates back to the scene I was just talking about. Apparently she enters him with her knife. She like stabs Delita.
See, I didn't notice that at first either, but then I rewatched it and I did.
I'm surprised. So you didn't recognize that?
No, I didn't notice
amazing.
what was going on, yeah.
He walks out and he's like, oh, Ovelia, my queen.
I got some flowers for you, sweetie.
I got some flowers for your birth, and then she fucking just turns around.
Thanks, Johnny.
And,
You're my favorite customer.
Slides across the screen and fucking stabs him in the gut.
This isn't completely accurate. She does say some things.
Well,
I'm
yeah.
not surprised
Most
that
of
you
that's
men
while she's
missed
hang on.
why
Most of
she's
that's while-
upset. You
Nope.
think she just
Most-
acted out
she
of
explains
nowhere.
that after she stabs him, and I'm describing the part where she stabs him.
Mm-hmm. So she stabs him, and then she's like, hey, you used me just like you used Ramza and everyone else. This whole thing was set up by you. You wanted him to die. You wanted everyone to die. Everything turned out just the way you wanted, and you're using me just like you used them. And that's when
you just said way more than she said, which was
Well,
like 3 lines of
but it's
text.
basically, I mean,
That's
Yeah,
what
She's
she
like, you
said, yeah.
use me like you use Ramza, and like you'll cast me aside like you cast them aside.
But like
And
this, I think that's what
Stabby
makes,
stab.
well, that's what what makes the ending of this game so good is that like Delita's not really a villain. He did some
don't
bad
really
stuff,
agree
but
with that.
but he did bad stuff. But by all accounts, he was a good king. You know what I mean? Like it's
Yeah.
But the accounts aren't true. The accounts
Like-
are lies.
yeah.
That's the purpose of this game, is to expose how everything about how
but
Delita
like you
was
don't.
great.
But like you don't know that though. Like
Yeah, we do, because he's been exposed as he told the people that he rose to power by being like
but it
cool.
says that was all
And
suppressed though,
instead,
didn't it?
he was murdering everybody.
Didn't it say that was all suppressed?
But that's the point, Jim.
Yeah,
Yes,
she
it was all
figured it out.
suppressed.
Yeah.
All the evil shit he did, but she knew she was there.
And
No,
I guess
I mean, in like the later texts, like was he actually a good king or is that made up?
he was
'Cause,
apparently a
like,
good king. Like
We
that,
don't
yeah.
know.
Well,
We don't know.
But apparently,
all
well, I
we
mean,
know
at least-
is that Ovelia killed his ass.
at least
and
it
that he
stopped.
That history says that he saved the kingdom.
Yeah.
when really it was
I think
Ramza.
he survived here.
No,
What?
I
Hang
don't
on.
think so.
Let's
I think he
What?
survived.
put a pin in that, please. Put a
Wait,
pin
who
in that.
survived what?
Okay. I
Let's
think
put a pin
Delita
in that.
survived being stabbed.
Okay, so here's my
Because
reaction.
we're talking about the experience of the cutscene. So let's
Yeah.
get through what happens in the cutscene
So he-
before we start discussing what happens
So
in the cutscene.
I was watching. I didn't notice the knife, so I thought she just ran up to him and was like, "You asshole! You did all these things and you used everybody." And then you see him like say, "Like, yeah, I did what I had to do." And then he takes out a knife. I didn't realize he was taking the knife out of himself, and that changes the meaning of
Does
this
he?
cutscene
I
a
don't know
bit.
that he takes the knife out of himself.
I think he does.
Yeah,
Okay.
Because I didn't know there was a knife until he pulled it out of himself.
yeah.
And I thought, Yeah, and and then I didn't know that he had been stabbed until I saw him like scrambling away.
So he
that's,
pulls the knife out of himself and he fucking stabs Avelia.
Yeah, this is some dramatic like Shakespeare.
And Avelia
shit.
falls over onto her face like she's dead, and Delita turns around and takes like 3 steps and then collapses to his knees and says like, Ramza, what did you get? This is what I got. And
But
then
he
falls
doesn't die
onto his
though.
face.
He doesn't die.
Again, I just want to say, this is the end of the fucking game, and he falls on his face. Everybody dies.
Yeah.
It's Romeo and Juliet.
It
Everybody
seemed
fucking
like an
dies.
everybody
Except
dies
for it's
ending.
not Romeo and
Okay.
Juliet because
Alright.
instead it's
Shakespeare comes back
Avelia.
later. It's like, actually, Romeo and Juliet were fine and lived happily ever after.
That's a good point. We
And
can talk about that in a
Romeo
minute,
became the mayor. and
Put a pin in that. Put a pin in that. Because the end of this game but it's like reverse Romeo and Juliet because they're not star-crossed lovers. She's his fucking prisoner, and she finally has some agency and takes it by trying to assassinate Delita.
Mm-hmm.
They get married,
okay.
and I
That-
get that
okay,
there's a
Matt,
scene
you
where
just-
she's like, we're going to get married, but at no point does it seem like she's ever given a choice or any sort of agency, and I see the end of this game as like the ultimate Ovelia finally like getting a choice and having her own agency, and she uses it to assassinate the king, who has won the populace over with a bunch of lies about the people that he manipulated. And
you know what? I think
used.
you just talked me into a better ending and a better understanding of this game.
Well,
Thank
there's
you.
a really interesting dichotomy between Ramza and Delita.
Totally.
Where Ramza is a noble, but if you think about it, Ramza's the noble who loses everything for real. He is branded a heretic. He loses his family. He loses everything, but he saves his sister because he never strays from his values.
Yeah,
Whereas
see, that's
Delita,
that's the thing is like when the game starts, they're both kind of on an even keel in that you think, okay, both of these guys have a ton of integrity. Like they're both like very similar, and then like Delita at the first chance betrays his morals like whenever he can.
does it because his sister is murdered, and I think one of the reasons the game is so good is because it is like a moral gray area here where Delita is unable to save his sister and has to like watch her die, and then turns and becomes everything he hated, basically. Like he then turns around and says, he turns into a fascist. He turns into the means justify the end. I'll do anything. I'll say anything. I'll betray anyone. The only person that he never really treats poorly is Ovelia, except for he does. He's a
kidnaps her all the
huge
time.
piece of shit. Yes, thank you, Vanessa. Anyway, that's my take on the end of the game, and I think that I think there's a great dichotomy between their stories, and I think this is the best goddamn ending to a game I've ever played, as I understand this ending, because now we're going to have to talk about the real ending.
Yeah,
But I would like to get everybody else's.
I was
like
just
to get everybody else's takes on
so
this.
my
Vanessa in
reaction.
particular.
Hold on. My reaction was I didn't see the knife she had, even though I had seen the cutscene before where she gets the knife. So I didn't read that she stabbed him first. So I just thought that he just randomly killed her because he didn't like being criticized.
Wow.
And I was like, that's why I was reacted so shocked to that.
But then why did you think
ending.
he walked away and like fell over?
He was sad. Like it's like
Do you think Delita actually? Do you think Delita was like being manipulative by giving her flowers? Like, was he mocking her, or was he like actually excited to like?
No,
No,
but I
he-
think he's an abuser. Like
Yeah.
he
Yes.
doesn't
Okay.
see
Okay.
what he's
Okay,
doing
I
is
see.
wrong, but he is wrong. He's an abuser.
So
He has
but
kidnapped
now that
this
I know
woman
the
and
actual
bent her to
context,
his will.
I
Yeah,
like it
yeah.
better.
And murdered
me
everyone
too,
else
John, for
that
sure.
she knew or loved. He's awful.
Yeah.
Yeah, that actually adds a lot of dimension to
right.
most of the stuff that happened in the game. So thank you for
I wanna ask
for
this again.
explaining that.
Vanessa, I've been waiting all season. Please talk to me about how you feel about the end of this game.
I think that it is a surprising choice, but I actually really like it because, as we've discussed, Ovelia is just kind of used as a pawn, and Delita tells her throughout the game basically that she doesn't matter. She's just a garbage orphan, replacement orphan, and she's a commoner, and but then at the same time, he's telling her, like, no, all I want is for you to be queen, and you'll be queen, you'll rule everyone. But he doesn't actually want her to have any power. Like, he just wants to have her be a pawn so that she can seize this power.
She knows that she knows too much.
Yeah.
I
think that might be true. And I kind of like the her coming to realize, like, oh, this guy doesn't love me, and there's really no way for me to escape him because he keeps kidnapping me, and I'll never have any freedom. So maybe I can just stab him in the stomach.
And she does, and it's great. He stabs him in the stomach. He stabs her in the ribs, or probably between the ribs, because she does fall over like she's dead, and he does get a few steps in before he dies. All right, now I'm going to briefly... there's a lot to this, so I'm going to briefly run through it, and then we can discuss, because there's going to be a lot of, I think, what?
Mm-hmm.
So this all comes from later on, mostly from the writers, the creators' Twitter, I think, where he did write some like post-game monologues. And then there was a sequel in Final Fantasy XIV, but his name is Matsuno, has said that Matsuno Yasumi, has said that the Final Fantasy XIV stuff is not supposed to be canon to the game. So the general gist of it is that despite how the game ends, first of all, the funny part, which is that apparently a lot of people refused to believe that Ramsa survived, and they thought that the Ramsa and Alma that ran by Warren on the Chocobos were ghosts.
It's like that was like metaphorical. Like they're okay with what happened.
Mm-hmm.
I guess I could see where you would come from with that.
Nobody really like interacts with them when they drive by.
Drive by.
Yep. We talked about them driving on.
That's what they do. They just drive by and wave.
Yep.
So it's interesting because Matsuno, I'm just going to kind of quote directly from this article. Matsuno frontlinejp.net. Matsuno says that in the end, Delita gained everything, but it came at the expense of losing love. And conversely, Ramsa lost everything, but in return gained love. And that includes love.
Wait.
Yes.
Yeah,
including familial love, because Ramsa saves his sister.
Well,
right?
I mean,
but
after
he says
your sister as like the big booby goddess lady, don't you think that your perspective might change?
Vanessa.
I also am very uncomfortable with what Vanessa just said and feel like I need an adult.
Also, those are jugs, not boobs.
However, he says that both Delita and Ophelia survive the end of this game.
That's what I thought.
But Ophelia later dies, and Delita goes on to rule alone.
Is he a good king?
It doesn't fucking say, Jim.
That matters. I feel like maybe not.
What is the point of
there
saying
is some
that,
like
though?
Yeah,
kind of sequel stuff where Ramsa years later has moved to like another country and is like helping a resistance there, and Delita is the king and is thinking about sending troops, but is that canon? Nobody really knows.
That sounds pretty cool, actually.
I think it's funny that Matsuno says that he thinks that people misunderstood Delita because they were too young when they played Final Fantasy Tactics, and that if they replayed it when they were older, they would have a different opinion. And he's right, but the funny thing is I don't think it's the opinion he thinks, because my take now is way different than when I was younger, but it's way more critical of Delita, and he thinks that Delita is way more sympathetic than he is. And he's not, because I get that it's like a fantasy and that he's working off of tropes, but he kidnaps a woman and drags her around for the entire game, and then forces her to marry him and becomes her king and rules for her. It's gross, and he fucking deserves that stab in the gut. And personally, my headcanon is what I saw in the game and what I've always thought was the end of the game, which is that Ophelia stabs him and he stabs her, and they both die. The end. Reactions.
I think this is a better ending than the ending that the sky is spinning. Sounds like maybe
as
he
it's-
wasn't quite ready to let go of the characters, you know?
It's a bit J.K. Rowling,
maybe,
like
yeah.
he keeps tweeting about like what happened after. Like you should probably just let it go. Like the game is over and there's not another one coming. So that's it, guys.
Ramsa
That's the
and
end of the
Delita
game.
were lovers. That's all I'm saying.
That would have been a more interesting version
I mean,
of the
that
game.
does
you know?
explain the church scene with all the sexual tension.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, now's the time for the big announcement. We've hinted
Wait,
at it several times.
what about the side quest we want to talk about?
What's
That's
Oh, I
the
thought there
side
was.
quest? What
Secret
about what's
Character
after?
Corner.
squarely against?
This is next
Okay.
time on.
Okay.
This is next time on,
Okay.
where we discuss what's next time on, which is
But we always
probably
do
where we
squarely
should-
against first.
Yeah, you're probably
and
right.
No, we
finish
don't.
Talking about the
no,
game.
we don't. It's where it is in the notes.
That's right. We do next time on, then we do squarely against.
Okay.
But it's
I didn't
weird to
move
do
it.
the side quests.
Yeah,
after.
I think you're right. Yeah.
that's the part that's getting
Fine.
me.
I don't care.
All right. Let's talk about side characters. Did any of you get the following characters? Cloud, Balthier, Construct number 8, or
Robo.
Beowulf and Reese the Dragon
Beowulf.
Did
Lady?
you say Robo?
Robo.
Yeah, Robo, the Construct, the robot. He's just like Robo.
It's not Chrono Trigger or Robo, is it?
No,
I mean, it
he's
looks
na-
just like
It
him.
looks just like him, but he's named Construct
Does it
number 8.
really? Wow. That's super cool.
You don't even have to do anything to get him, you fucking lazy asshole. You could have done it. You could have
You have to go to Gaug a couple of times and then do a mission. You have
Man,
to get
Robo's
Yeah,
like
you
the
do have
extra
to-
stone.
best Chrono Trigger character.
Actually, these missions are all very similar, which is you go read a rumor and then you go somewhere and you run across somebody with a stone. So the first one, who is kind of the most frustrating, is Cloud. It's very fun. You fight some bad guys, you get a stone, you take it to a machine, and the machine teleports Cloud in, and he's like, Sephiroth, It
That's
seems
pretty
to
fun.
be. It seems to have pulled Cloud from the point in Final Fantasy VII where he has fallen into the life stream.
Yes. That's where he says he is. He says he needs to go to the Promised Land to find Aerith. But also Aerith is like, I guess, like another reality version of Aerith is here. Because
Yeah.
to recruit him, you have to go to this
They don't
one
call
city.
her Aerith, though, right? Or do they call her that?
They call her
at some
Aerith,
point?
at least in the revised version. I don't know about the original. They call her Aerith. She's
Nobody's
there.
talking about the original. We didn't play the original.
Well, yeah, I'm talking about World Lions and called her. I'm pretty sure they call her Aerith. She's there in this one city, the city of Sal something.
They call her
And-
Flower Girl a lot.
Yeah, they call her Flower Girl, but I think they say Aerith.
Salgidos.
So she is threatened by these guys who want. Apparently, they loaned her lots of thousands of gil, and they want her to pay it back. And then they're like, "Well, since you don't have the money, we'll sell your Tinderbox." Like, are they literally talking about Aerith's vagina?
Yes,
in
they
Final Fantasy
are.
Tactics and threatening her with
Yep.
sexual harm?
I mean, again, based on the same stuff that Game of Thrones is based on.
Tinderbox.
Cloud.
Tinderbox.
I guess. What do you want from me? I didn't write the game.
Why did you write that?
So, Cloud
Tinderbox.
is
Why are
kind
they
of a bummer
They don't
character
need
in that
to
you
have Aerith be threatened with sexual violence. It's super weird. Why would they talk about her vagina in this game? It's just what?
It's definitely the only vagina they talk about in the game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Giving off sparks.
Oh, is
Anyway,
that what she's
you,
talking about?
Yeah, that's
You-
what she's
if you-
talking about when she says you're living it about. Okay, again, giving off sparks.
She just deep in there.
When you
In her
when you
Tinder
summon
box.
Cloud via the teleporter, he'll wander off, and you have to, as John said, you have to go to Solgidos, which is on the other side of the fucking map. To find him, he runs into Aerith or a flower girl who is selling flowers, but he doesn't. I think he doesn't have any money, or he's like, my head. Who cares? He wanders off again.
Oh, I do
And
like
then
that he
some
keeps
people
having those
show up and
flashbacks.
threaten to rape her, and he turns around and is like, and then he shows back up in the scene and is like, I'll fight you, and then Ramsa and the rest show up and are like, yeah, all right, we'll help you, and if you win, he joins the gang.
He also gets a
Unfortunately-
crippling flashback and can't fight during that fight.
Oh, that's right. He does not. He shows up with a special job that has all of his limits from Final Fantasy VII as his skills, but they can only be used if you have the Buster Sword equipped, which he does not come with.
Which
you
they
can
don't
find
call. They call
in
it
a
the,
random
the
map.
Materia Blade. They don't even call it the Buster Sword, which makes
You're
no
right.
sense.
You're right.
But it should be the Buster Sword. You're right. It should be.
They
Why
call
would
it the Materia Blade?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
That's dumb.
and
I feel like,
Jim-
but like I feel like Final Fantasy VII didn't really lean into like the Buster Sword being iconic until like when
Yes.
cons started to get huge and like Advent
Yeah.
Children started to come out. Like the
Yeah.
Buster Sword wasn't the Buster Sword until
but
around
it was
that.
used in all those like promo art, and even like when you start
but
the
it
game,
was
because
just
it's
a-
the
it was
first
just
sword
a-
of the
close-up.
game.
It was just a big fat chunky sword, like,
and all about
but
Zack
like the Buster
and-
Sword wasn't
yeah.
a brand until a little bit later.
I don't know. I think they leaned
I mean, it
into
was
that
called the
Buster
Buster Sword in the
Sword.
game.
Yeah.
Well, like, but it was your default sword, and then
Yeah.
they started like naming it and putting in all the. It became like a little
Okay,
icon of
all
the
right.
game. Yeah. So
Anyway, so you can find the Materia Blade on a
On top
random
of
map at
a
the top of a
mountain.
volcano.
Yeah. And
And you have to have the chemist's treasure hunter item equipped.
I went and got it. That blade sucks. It's like
Yeah,
a
that's the real
terrible sword
problem.
that you get at the end
It's
of
a
the game.
terrible sword. You can't do anything to improve it.
Yeah, it's a
And
starting
it's
one.
the only.
it only has one
it's
materia
the-
slot.
It's the only sword in the game that if he has equipped, he can use his skills. And it's the dumbest, it's the worst decision they ever made because you can level him all the way up to 70 and he never will hit harder than that fucking sword.
And he's
It's-
already
it
got
makes all of his
Even with the
skills-
limit break.
Yeah.
It makes all of his limit break skills fucking useless.
That, like,
And
breaks his whole
Orlando can
character.
already
It does.
Orlando's way better. At this
Sid
point, you
is
have to go through all
OP.
these steps to get him. Make him at least as powerful as Orlando. Like, why
know.
would you make him so weak? It doesn't. And he starts out at level 1, and to get him,
Oh, he's at level 1.
to be
I
useful, you have
grinded
to
that
like.
motherfucker up to level like 60 the last time I
Yeah.
played this game, and it was not worth it.
No,
Yeah.
it's he gets so few job points and experience. Like eventually, once he kills, and it was a whole thing. I got him to level 20 and stopped bothering.
Yeah.
Because it was
All
like,
right. Well, moving on.
Yeah.
We also, if you follow some rumors, you can meet a sky pirate that will join your team, and it's Balthier from Final Fantasy XII. He does not come with an airship. He is a gun character, and frankly, I did not get a lot of use out of him.
he's a lot like Mustadio, has his Mustadio's abilities, but combined with a steal, he can like shoot and steal at the same time. But he's better than he has better stats than Mustadio. So like he's fun to use. That gun I found, the stone gun that does 300 damage every time, is super good on him. But then I just put on my healer who has equipped guns anyway, so I didn't need him for the end fights. I just kept him around a lot of the time because I liked having him in my party, even if he doesn't say or do anything.
One character you pick up is Construct 9, right? 18?
8. I think he's 8.
Construct 8. He looks a lot like Robo from Chrono Trigger. Excuse me.
He shoots missiles out of his back.
He actually he shows up. He's one of the easiest characters to get because he shows up during the Cloud stuff
Yeah.
pretty quickly.
To
So,
get Cloud, you have to get
and-
Construct 8.
back when I first played this game, I did use him a bunch because he has high defense and is very strong. But in this playthrough, definitely, he, even at the high level that I was at, which they pick up at the level you're at usually, he just was useless. And the last set of characters are Beowulf and Reese the Dragon, and that's a whole thing. And Johnny wants to talk to us about that. And I'm going to go try to...
Yeah, there's a whole series of side quests. You can go through this mine, and this guy Beowulf wants to come with you because he's like, there's something in this mine that I want. And he's just a dude. He's like a Templar. He mostly comes in as a guest character, so it's fine. You don't have to control or bother with, do anything but like make sure he has good equipment. You get to the bottom of the mine, and he finds this dragon. And he's like, "Dragon, sweetie, I love you." And then that's kind of weird. And then he saves the dragon, and the dragon is his girlfriend, and they're in love. And I was like, well, that's progressive, I guess, because the dragon does seem to be sentient, and so it does pass. There's the furry test of whether or not you can ship yourself with a character is if they are sentient. There's a whole furry thing in the furry community about that. So this thing,
The alien community too.
It is capable of consent. So, but then you find out that the Lord over at Lionel Castle had actually cursed her into being a dragon, and you undo the curse somehow, and she turns into a lady, and she's less interesting then. Finally, he was a Griffin Knight over at Lionel Castle, and you can take, because basically the Lord that's running it, Lord Butterfingers, is a real jerk, and he's letting the area fall into decline, so you can help him take over Lionel Castle. Basically, you're committing regicide. Because you go help him get revenge on Lord Butterfingers, and Lord Butterfingers is like, hey, what? I can't fight you guys. So then he does. First he sends all his ninjas to attack you, which is pretty fun. But then after that, he's like, guess what? I'm gonna turn Vanessa. He turns into a big demon monster.
What?
It's crazy. Like,
where
at first
did
he's
that
just
come from?
I don't know where they think this stuff up, but he turns into a big demon monster, and you have to fight him. He's basically a dark version of the dragon that he turned Reese into. And
you can't just establish a world. You know, we've spent
full of
a lot
realistic
of time in
rules.
this world, a realistic world of court intrigue and church politics, and then introduce people who randomly turn into monsters.
Yeah, in this weird side content. It's very strange. So he turns into a dragon. He's actually, I think, the highest HP boss in the game, I think. And so he has like 3,000 hit points, depending on what your hit points are. And it's kind of a tricky fight. But we destroyed him real fast because I had Sid there and I had Balthier there, and we're just blasting him. and that's it. There's a nice cutscene of Reese and Beowulf together, looking over the sunset and realizing they have so much because of Ramza. And that's the end of that side quest. There's like 8 fights in that side quest. It's pretty long. It's like half a chapter. Well, it's fun. Who put that in the notes? Jim, did you put that in the notes?
Yeah. Put that in
the notes. It's got a flap in the back. It's some kind of safari hat. He says the guy at the store told him he was the only person who could make it work.
Pull it off.
Yeah, pull it off. All right.
I've never fought for anything. I'm fighting for this hat.
So, next time on Square Roots, I guess it's time for us to announce a winner. Matt? Oh, Matt's not here. Vanessa, you're going to have to announce the winner. I know Matt really wanted to.
Patreons and regular listeners will know that we ran a little March Madness Tournament of Losers bracket.
To avoid copyright, it was called March Badness.
Right, March Badness. I apologize. The March Badness Tournament of Losers, where all of your favorite losers from past Patreon votes battled it out to be the next game we play on the show. There is a winner, and that winner is drumroll, 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 drumroll.
Ooh, who is it? Who's the winner?
Xenogears.
Matt! Yay!
Xenogears.
Matt.
A game I've never played.
I've played the first 10 hours or so. It has really big environments that take forever to walk around. I remember that being kind of a downer.
Oh, I'm going to be a baby Fresh Eyes on this one.
It has fast combat, which I like.
Did somebody say little baby Fresh Eyes?
No! Go back in your hole.
She does crawl out of wells, little baby Fresh Eyes.
Okay, here I go back in my hole.
Go back into the spooky well. She shuffles backwards on the ceiling. It's very
Is that what you think a
disconcerting.
well sounds like, John? Because I don't think that's what I just heard. I think she
that
just returned to the womb.
Oh god, some kind of cosmic womb that she was birthed from.
Yeah.
It made slurping sounds. Sure, buddy.
I
Whatever you gotta
come from
tell
a
yourself.
cosmic Tinderbox.
So I don't know if Is Vanessa gonna be there for this series?
Unclear.
What?
It might be a
I'm
Vanessa
very
series.
busy.
But you have to at least show up for the level ups, though, right? Promise us you'll show up for the level ups.
Yeah, I'm going to be around. And, in the past, when these things have happened, as sometimes happen in our lives, there is YouTube.
Vanessa and I are fighting.
There are ways, Matt and I are fighting, which is why I refuse to come, except for the level ups, so I can just chat with Matt and stuff. But, there's YouTube and things like that. I'm gonna see. I'm gonna weigh my options. Something could happen with my schedule where it drastically changes from what I anticipate it being. But right now, it's looking at, a 60-hour work week kind of thing. So,
Boo.
Hey, fellers. Now that we're done with this game, it's time to decide whether we are roundly for or squarely against Final Fantasy Tactics: War of the Lions.
Hey, quick question, though. We announced that the next game is Xenogears. Did we say where we're playing to?
I don't think we've talked about it.
No, we have not talked about it, and nobody has played it, so we do not know.
I'm playing it.
All right, where do you want to play to, Matt?
I don't know.
I'll put it in the notes. I'll figure it out later. Don't worry about it. It'll be in the show notes. Go look there.
It'll be in the show notes.
It'll be in the show notes.
You have to look.
You can just look. Don't worry about it. Anyway,
You should mute all of us and then record another track of you saying it.
Yes.
Like, really loud and long.
That's a lot of work.
Yeah, I know.
It is. I went to go make sure that Haley was home, and she was. She was in bed. And I told her it was time to go to bed, and she should go wash her face and brush her teeth. And she threw her blanket over herself and said, I would rather go to sleep and fart. And then I said, good night, and turned off her light. And then she farted like a grown adult male.
It's
Just the fucking loudest, longest fart you've ever heard.
It has-
Multi-part. Okay? Multi-pitch. There was a lot. I've really taught her well.
sometimes, yeah.
One day she's going to make a man very happy.
And it's
or miserable.
sort of like a mirror when you look at your child, right? You're like, I see my traits reflected in this other
for sure.
human being.
Unfortunately, they got all my weirdness and my farting and snoring and burps and bad habits.
Yeah, when it comes to the game Final Fantasy Tactics, what are you roundly for or squarely against?
No. This is the whole final summary, Johnny.
This is the whole enchilada.
Oh yeah, so are you roundly for or squarely against Final Fantasy Tactics?
Enchiladas.
Are you roundly for or squarely against Final Fantasy Tactics: the War of the
Enchiladas.
Lion, like I said 5 minutes ago?
Are you roundly for or squarely against Final Fantasy Tactics War of the Lions, Vanessa?
I'm roundly for Final Fantasy Tactics: War of the Lions. It's a fun
Is this
game.
your second, third, fourth time playing this game?
Probably fourth.
Oh wow.
I'm not sure if I ever finished it when I was playing it on PlayStation.
The PlayStation?
Yeah, but I do think
Hard
I
same on that.
played it a couple times, maybe, or at least once before on iOS. So it is third or fourth or second.
Mm-hmm.
But I've played a lot.
We'll
of
call it
this game.
fourth.
Yeah, we'll call it fourth. I like it. It's good. It's not your typical RPG. So tactics.
I
games-
wonder, may I ask?
Mm-hmm.
We got all the takes on it, but what was your original impression of that post-credit scene? Like, did you think that everybody died, or what did you think happened?
I have no idea. I don't know if I ever had actually seen it before, to be honest with you, because
What?
it didn't stick in my memory. So it could be
What?
that I
How
had
could
just beaten the game and
Yeah.
look at the credits, and I'm just like,
I mean,
guess
it's a
over.
post-credit scene,
Yeah.
and this is well before post-credit scenes were a thing.
Mm-hmm. Now you go to a movie and your friends are like, we have to sit through the credits to see if there's a post-credit scene. And I did. I sat through, after seeing it through a 3.5-hour Batman movie, I sat through the whole sloggy credits.
Really? See,
In
I'll
order-
Google it. Once the credits start, I'll Google it. Is
I'll
there
do
a
the same
post-credit
thing.
scene?
Yeah.
So in the Batman, spoilers, there is a post-credit scene where you see a like computer screen with a cursor on it, and that's
Should
it.
we be doing this? Wait, is there? No, there's not.
Yeah. It says goodbye. Types out goodbye.
Weird.
End of film.
All right.
What do you think that
So-
means?
What do I think that means? I think
Yeah.
What
it
does that have to do
mean-
with Final Fantasy Tactics?
Well, this series is over. We played Final Fantasy Tactics. Goodbye.
Okay.
now.
Who are you gonna ask what they think? Maybe Vanessa doesn't care what we
We
think about
really
this
are
game.
just the Flophouse. Like, we can't get our own format right. Years that we've been
Matthew,
doing it, and we
are you
cannot
roundly
get it right.
for or squarely against Final Fantasy Tactics: War of the Lions?
15 thumbs up. I love this game. Playing it again reminded me how much I love this game. Playing it again at the beginning was kind of weirdly torturous. I had a real tough time getting started. But once I did, I had a real tough time putting this game down. And I think I grinded to higher levels than I ever have before, except for maybe the last time I played it when it first came out on iOS, because I went nuts that time.
Ground.
It's a great game. Roundly
Grinded
4.
is not a word. You ground to higher levels.
Language is
I think
mutable,
that
Vanessa.
I think that it has a phenomenal plot. I think that it has great characterization, and I love the I used this word earlier, so I guess I'll use it again. I love the dichotomy of that serious plot with the cutesy little dolls in their dioramas. I love it. It really works for me, especially when they occasionally like run each other through and there's huge blood spurts. It's very shocking. It works, you know, because early in the game it would like cut up, like the camera would pan up and you would just hear, "Arr!" But late in the game, they are murdering each other. It is brutal. Delita pulls a knife out of his guts and stabs Alma with it. So I'm roundly for it. I think it's a fantastic game. I absolutely adore it. If you've never played it, you absolutely must. It is the best game of the PlayStation era. It's the best Final Fantasy Tactics game ever. It's the best Final Fantasy game ever. And it's number 1 in the rankings again. Johnny!
Yeah.
Are you roundly for or squarely against Final Fantasy Tactics: War of the Lions?
I am roundly for it. You know, 24 years ago when little college student Johnny Brandon first played this and got stuck, I thought I'd never be able to finish this game. And look at me now, Dad. Look at me now. I finished this
You
game.
love those Hawthorne wipes.
I destroyed the bonus bosses. I won all of it, and it's good.
Did you do the dungeon? Did you do the infinite dungeon or whatever it's called?
I don't know what that is, and I won't acknowledge it.
There's a great bonus dungeon. It is like 20 levels deep or something. You have to be very high level to get through it, and it's all like pitch black, like you cannot see anything. I think.
I've done it.
Yeah, Vanessa's done it. We've talked about it. We should talk about it, Vanessa. I've done it too. It's
Yep.
What is at the end of that thing? Nothing,
I
right? Like
don't
a cutscene.
remember.
I don't either. I remember it being not much. You can get some great gear, but all of the gear is like, there's not like treasure chests. It's like you have to have that treasure finder ability equipped, and you have to go walk to the specific square in this pitch black dungeon. It's real dumb, but it's fun.
I never did that. Jim, are you roundly for or squarely against this great game?
I am roundly for this game. I tried to play this game solo, just like casually, like a year and a half ago on the Vita, and I bounced off it really hard. And when I started this playthrough, I realized why. It's because in my first playthrough, I was never putting anyone other than Ramza in any of the battles, so they were like impossible. It was Ramza
This
against
game
everybody.
does not explain to you how to do
No,
anything.
it does not. And so like that's why I was getting so frustrated. I was like, why is this so fucking hard? And this one made it a lot better. So yeah, and I think like Matt's explanation of the ending actually retroactively made my enjoyment of it a lot better. So thank you for that.
Just like Ramza needs his friends on the battlefield, you need your friends on the podcast.
Aww. I think this is a top 5 game of the games we've played. I think it is. It's bolted up the charts. It's right up there with Persona 3 and 4 and Final Fantasy 7.
And like Grandia.
And well, no.
And Vampire the Masquerade Bloodlines.
Dragon Age 2
it would be
maybe.
tough. I think it would be tough between like Persona 3 and 4 and Final Fantasy 10 and Dragon Age 2, I think we've had a lot this year that have really jumped up there. Like Chrono Cross is way up there for me.
This year? We played that like 2 years ago.
Oh, I thought we were talking about just in the years since we've been doing the show.
Oh, I thought you said this year. I was like, okay.
Yeah, I did.
I got a
in
notice
this last
from,
year, not this year like 2022, but in the last year or so, we have done a ton of games that have really jumped up the charts for me. After years of doing like Grandia and Vampire the Masquerade and Rogue Galaxy, we started playing some good games. I mean, I'm sorry, but that's just the truth. Vanessa, you were saying.
I got a notice from Twitter that our Twitter account was 6 years old. Seems insane to me.
Actually,
shit.
I was. You know what?
Happy
Someone
anniversary, everyone.
You know, yeah, I know. I was actually just talking about that yesterday. I was wearing my Manscaped shirt as most of us were yesterday, and I was on a Zoom call, and a guy that I was on a call with was like, "What's up with your Manscaped shirt?" And I was like, "Oh, they sponsor the podcast," and he was talking about it, and he's like, "How long have you been doing it?" And I was like, "Oh, fuck, it's like 6 years this month."
Yeah.
That's
6
crazy.
years.
And you know what?
Also,
Vanessa, when we spoke to that Dragon Age developer guy, you said we'd only been doing the podcast for like 2 years.
And
I was like, excuse me, it's much longer.
I was
than that.
looking at I was looking at it on the Apple Podcasts app for some reason, and realized that we are almost at season 45 of the show.
Season 45.
45 games we've played for this show.
Yeah, that's crazy.
45.
Wild.
It is
That
one.
number seems like more games than I've ever played in my life.
I think it is more games than I've ever finished before that I finished.
Yeah,
for this
yeah,
podcast.
and it's weird thinking that like I feel like since I've started doing the podcast, I'm enjoying playing like my games casually a lot more too. So it's like I'm still gaming a lot when I'm not gaming for the show, which is pretty cool.
It changes how you think about the game while you're playing it, I think.
It
because
does.
You think about, I don't know, you're just more, it's like being more of an engaged reader when you're reading something for class.
Yes, yeah, exactly.
So
It's
that
like
means
a
you're
loud-
squarely against the game?
No, round like 4.
I'd like y'all to know that the traditional anniversary gift for 6th anniversary is candy, and I am open to receiving it.
Please send them
All right,
to
well, then
Jim's
go ahead
P.O.
and
Box.
give your go ahead and give your address out on the podcast, Vanessa, so people can send you candy.
Send them to care of Jim Banks.
You
All right,
know
gang.
what?
Well,
Texas
we talked about
Senate?
squarely against.
Venmo me some money, and I will buy the candy for myself.
We don't have
Send
any
you a picture
emails.
for
I don't
proof.
think we may have, but we're not doing them right now. Do we have any emails?
Yeah, but it's about the next game we're playing for the show, so I'm just gonna sit on it like
All right,
it's
good
an
idea.
egg.
Well, I have good news for all of you. We just had our most successful Patreon campaign ever. That's right, the losers bracket for the next game that we're going to play, and as was just announced, it's going to be Xenogears.
I think we're going
I've
to have to
started playing
do
it. It's fun.
Zackets from now on. By Zackets, I mean brackets. They're a
Maybe not
special
It
kind
was
of
exactly all
fun.
the time, but it was really
I
fun.
think people will burn out on it if we do
Yeah,
it every
that's
week.
true.
Listeners, write in, hit us on Facebook or Patreon, and let us know what you thought of that.
We can still do like little mini tournaments for people to get to pick what's going to be in the next actual
Yeah, stuff like
head-to-head,
that.
You know? Yeah.
So now is the time where we talk about our Patreon and how great it is, and Jim's going to talk about that while I go plug my phone in.
We do have a great Patreon. It's actually the platform that has enabled this March Badness tournament to happen, which determined our next game. So along with the ability to vote on the Patreon. At the $5 tier, you get to do that, and you also get access to a lot of our back content. We've got a ton of stuff on the Patreon now. I feel like we've been reminiscing so much. We've had the Patreon up for quite a long time, too.
4 years now.
Yeah, we've been mostly pretty good about getting stuff up on there every month. That's something to be proud of, I think.
Yeah, sometimes it might be a day late, but like that's the worst that's happened.
And sometimes it's recorded on the very last day of the month, the very
most,
first day.
I would say most times.
Almost all the time. It's right before we have to publish it.
But, we've been pretty good about getting content out. Once or twice it's been the day of, but mostly it's been
for sure.
the night before.
Yeah, and there's, like John said, we've been doing it for a long time. So there's a ton of stuff on there. But that's available any level. We have a $3 level, $5 level, $3 level, back content only, $5 level, all the back content, the ability to vote on the next game.
Hey, Vanessa.
Yeah.
What do you want to do this month?
I haven't decided.
Yeah, I was going to ask you that earlier.
A game? We could like do a fun, silly game show episode where you get us all wrong. Remember, we couldn't answer a single question. And
Don't lie. You already told us what you want to do this month.
What did she say?
No, I had two ideas. One was to make you play Taskmaster because that's all I care about.
Oh, that is fun.
Yeah.
But
That's what I said.
You guys say that, but you
It's a lot
don't
of work.
actually know what Taskmaster is, so it
Well,
would
like,
require...
I was hoping
we'll have
you
fun
would
no matter what.
I was hoping you wouldn't pick it because then I would want to watch at least a little bit of it to see
Right,
what I
and you
was going to
don't
be
want
in
to
for.
watch it.
Yeah.
Well, the trouble with Taskmaster in an audio format is that it would require each of you to do something before we record, and I don't really want to give you homework. My other idea is to watch this video game-based horror movie that's coming out this month.
What is that one?
Ooh, yeah, that's
I
fun
think it's
too.
going to be
Vanessa, I'm
on-
pro your Taskmaster idea, but I'm pro this one too.
Yeah, I mean, I would love to do the Taskmaster idea. It's just something we all kind of have to consent to ahead of time.
What's
We
that
all
video
agree.
game horror movie called?
I forget. I think it's coming out mid-month. I think it's going to be on Netflix. I know I sent something to the chat about it.
Oh, you did. It was like the game that was like causing ghosts to like harass this person, right?
Yeah, it's okay. It's called.
Feels like maybe we should not announce this on the show at this point and just move on with
Okay.
plugging the Patreon.
We just did that.
Hey,
It's
one
called Choose
aspect,
or Die.
That's right. It's called Choose or Die.
One aspect of the Patreon is that no matter what level you're donating at, we read a list of names at the end of the show. It used to include everybody, but then everybody got mad about it. And I'll start us off with Alexander Jokic, Johnny Five Alive, Vanessa's Gold Taco Bell PS5, Jerry Schreffler, Grayson, Vanessa Fan, Mostly Rational Person, David Shook, Kristen Ingram, I'm Hawk's mom, and this is my favorite podcast in Kirkwall. Lolly Lulilo, William
Lulilo.
Westgard, Zachary Train, sometimes Ben wears the hat, sometimes the hat wears Ben. Rachel Armenhammer, D. Jethro, Michael McDonough, Eric Poirier. Poirier?
Great. Perfect.
Vanessa's mom rides by on a chocobo, so you know that she's okay. That's a good one.
I'd like to thank Eric Garby, an evil floppy-haired Vanessa boyfriend, Kodab Games, Stu Skeel, Sergeant Spaghetti, Hexagon, Wishbone is gay, Bree Girth, Keysby Knight, Sheev Palpatine drinks his Ovaltine with caffeine, CharityWater.org, No More Sieges, our best and handsomest friend, Stan Ferguson, Jason Timms, Yule Baller, Matthew Casterline, Square Toots, Magpie Juju, Andy Smith, Chapter 1 V-Graph was right, Chapter 3 Fart so much. Fart not so much, sorry.
And I would like to thank Chad Wilson, Dustin, A Final Fantasy of Tactical Strap-Ons, Teen Wolfhard Bumpkins, Robert T., Ari Corpivara, Robert M. Pollum, Anea Mazzini, Dovahkiin's Discount Dragon Barn, Nathan Poirot, Nick, Adam H., Christian Go, Eduardo Franco, Ron, Saving Sid, James. Oh, you don't have the right. WWE Mike G, and Tired of NFT's Nuts.
I would like to thank Tracy the Borg Queen, Ricky Barty, My Battery is Low, Tyler Crump, Dr. Fine, Say Everyone's Name, Fresh Eyes, Matt Jorgensen, Jake Dickerson, Ramses Hot Cake Stand, Sexy Grandma's Toys, Snowford, Wedge Coon, Kyle, Stephen Pagic, Michael Crawford, George Brady, I Like Big Boats, They Cannot Lie, Tyler, General Hux versus Adam from The Bachelorette, and Citrus Sea.
So, Vanessa, who wins in General Hux versus Adam from The Bachelorette?
I mean, I assume we're talking about Adam Jr.
Well,
You know,
both
that-
of them, right?
What?
Adam and Adam Jr.
I have no interest in Adam.
But he's got Adam Jr. with him.
Does he, though?
He's the gatekeeper for Adam Jr., so you better show some interest in Adam.
I feel like I recall Adam Jr. being present after Adam had left.
Oh, that's true.
I imagine you didn't read any of our other names that we.
Yeah, you missed a whole bunch of names.
Yeah, you skipped over some.
Here's a little inside baseball of Square Roots for everyone who's stuck through listening to the Patreon names. We share a Google document that serves as our show notes, and as I was reading the list of your very nice names, these gentlemen were inserting their own ideas of things they would like to hear me say, and I think I managed to avoid every single one of them.
You did.
But it is difficult to read from a list while that list is growing before your very eyes. I have a fun fact I want to share with the group.
Okay.
The upcoming Netflix movie Choose or Die was formerly titled Cursor, but instead of a E or a U, it has a little alligator-sized waist bracket. And it's called Cursor.
That movie looks like Zork, but a horror movie with murder,
Yes,
and I'm
that's what it
super
is.
here for it. I'm super here for it, though. What a clever idea.
Yeah, it's like those
it'll be
creepypastas
garbage,
they
but-
used to have of like, oh, it's a haunted video game. It's a haunted video game.
I mean, there's like 40 shows about that now, so.
And all the creepypastas.
Creepypastas.
Mm-hmm.
Like ones if your Sonic cartridge was haunted, ones if you had a haunted Mario cartridge.
That whole show
first
that Jim
episode of
screamed at me to
Square
watch at.
You've been Vanessa.
Send us an email. You know our email address. It's squarerootspodcast@gmail.com. If you hate email, but you still want to talk to us and you're more of a social media person, you can find us at Facebook, the Square Roots Podcast group for The Square Roots Podcast group for smart, cool, very attractive people. Or you can find us on Twitter at Square Roots Pod. Please rate, review, and subscribe in iTunes, Ghana, or wherever you listen to podcasts. Thanks for Stephen Morris and our Square Roots theme.
Oh, Jim, send him
I'm
his money.
sounding
I sent you
more
a
like
request.
Vanessa at the
Oh, yeah,
beginning
I'll do
of
that.
the
Thank you.
episode.
As Spotify listeners, or all of your classic episodes on Square Roots to listen.com. Square Resources.
That was a good hick.
All right, Jim, bring us home.
All right, everyone, for Square Roots, I am Jim Banks.
I'm Matthew Van Zant.
I'm Johnny Brandon.
And I'm
And
Vanessa.
she's Jessica Walters.
Oh,
Wow. Don't stomp over Vanessa. How dare you? I'm white knighting her.
yeah. Why knight me? You know what? Sometimes it irritates me, but sometimes I'm like, I would like someone else to just kind of take care of stuff for a while, you know?
She is Jessica Walters, but without the drinking problem.
Yeah, I need someone to white knight me. I need someone to do my
Also,
chores.
not real Jessica Walters, but like the character she plays. You guys know what I'm talking about.
I need
All right,
someone
bye.
to get up tomorrow and good my
We
job for me.
did this game to completion. Everyone,
Wow.
congratulate us.
I've never done something more to completion in my life.
Nobody's still
I'm hitting stop now. That's how he attacks.
Oh, it does?
Yeah, it's pretty gross.
Yeah.
There's Flash, that idiot.
Flash the idiot.
Yeah, I'm cyberbullying Jim Banks' dog, listeners.
You guys want to see? Can you see him?
Oh, look at him. Oh, what a good boy.
Okay, go ahead.
For moron. There's this pug at work.
Now he's really excited.
And she's so cute, and she's the most food obsessed dog. Because I shouldn't have done it. She asked for some of my chips one of the first times she was there, and I gave her some. And then the owner's like, "Oh yeah, if you want to give her food, don't give her human food. Give her, I'll give you special food to give her." And I was like, oh, "Okay, yeah, that's fair." But now she just follows me around work, making like snorting sounds because she's hungry the whole night. She's just going there like.
This says that